Hello, everybody, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here on Wednesday, and no one was ready for that intro. But we're here for the first official episode of Myth Dawn. Let's go around, meet our cast and crew here, and then jump into this crazy world which you helped us make last week. We've invented all new characters, we've invented all new races, all new locations, and we'll post it eventually for you hungry hippos that are out there trying to devour some D&D content. We'll jump over first to our wonderful Dungeon Master and the mind behind tonight's episode. Eric, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today? Well, I guess you're not playing anybody.
Hey.
You're just the Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
So what are we doing today?
I'm Mike, thank you. I'm playing the world today. I'm Eric. I'm Eric Vulgaris on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I am a role-playing game fiend. I can't get enough of them. I do 7 games right now of all various different systems. I'm up to I'm almost at 100. I almost broke the 100 different role-playing game systems mark right now. So I'm getting real close. I'll probably hit it in February. So I'm getting really excited about that. And if you want to play games and stuff like that, you should talk to me because that's what I do.
What do you do when you hit the 100? Is there a goal? Is there a plan? Is there a party happened?
No, just I want to get to play 100 systems, and I want to keep playing more systems because there's so many role-playing games out there to tailor your story to, and that's what we did today here.
Perfect.
We picked a system and tailored it, and you can hear about what we did from other people.
Sweet. Hot on your trails for that 100 mark, and also good at tailoring his system. Check out his new show on YouTube. Grant, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
All right. My name is Grant Ellis. I am an independent author and game designer. I will be playing Brother Talk, the Lightforged philosopher, who is seeking after the fallen star. You can find me on YouTube and other things. And like Eric, I play lots of games, but Eric is one of the people that I really enjoy playing games with. So I'm just excited for this opportunity.
Fantastic.
I've always wanted to play with Summer. I've always wanted to play with Metamancer. I've always wanted to play. I think I've played with Mike before a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, we had, in fact, I think for weeks before we assembled the cast, it was me and Eric just having a fan get, can we get this person? What if we get this person? What if we get this person? We got to have only 4 people. How about this person? And we're just going back and forth trying to figure out who we could get on the show as we geeked out about it. But here, last week for the world-building episode, here again to astound us with her insane positivity. Metamancer, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
Hi, I'm Metamancer, and I am a horror / cosmic dark fantasy tabletop roleplay game master, storyteller. I also do some dark illustrated art on my channel, and I'm in process of developing the first roleplay extension for Twitch. So that's kind of me. And then I'm going to be playing a consort race, Minea Etri, and she is a happy-go-lucky, very positive outlook kind of gal. I'm very, very excited to actually roleplay her because usually my roleplay involves very dark and dreary characters. So I'm excited to kind of break out of that and bring some fun entertainment.
Fantastic. Unfortunately, we missed our last cast member for the world building show, but I'm assured she watched it several times.
Yes.
And if anything, if that means anything, the entire week from then to now has been nothing but nonstop world building behind the scenes for everything she missed and all kinds of new things you're going to see today. So, Summer, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
Hi, I'm Summer. I'm a streamer here on Twitch. I run a DM talk show called Off the Table on Thursdays, and we're about to go into our 3rd season this coming week, and it's going to be awesome. I play a lot of games, DM. I'm really fun to follow on Twitter. No, I don't know if that's true. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to play this game. Like watching you guys world build last week, like I was so sad I wasn't there, but it was like so cool because I would have an idea and then somebody would say it and I'd be like, what about this? When I was watching back, and then somebody else would say it. So I felt like I was there in spirit. And chat did a great job. They did better than I could have done anyway. And so today I'll be playing Zarina, and she is a Grigori ranger. And I'm really excited because I went with, a story that I'm really excited to explore and hang out with these other characters. I think it's going to be really fun.
Sweet. And I think we've all picked people from different corners of the worlds we made, or from the different sections we made. So it's a pretty diverse group of heroes, I guess, depending on the word.
Question mark?
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah, that's a question mark,
Yeah.
I think. And lastly, I will be playing Ragin Asherok, who is a Voidborn Rune Guard, which is a new class coming to you from Xanathar's Lost Notes on Everything Else, which if you guys don't know what the hell that is, check it out here on the DM's Guild. You can check that out right there. And if you guys want to know who our characters are, what our names are, all that good stuff, !myth in the chat will pop up, all that cool stuff. So yeah, Eric, take us away.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. Welcome chat to this wonderful game. If you tuned in for the world building episode, you would know a little bit more of what we're planned on doing today. If you haven't, don't sweat. I have a little bit of an open crawl for us to kind of define the game and what we're doing here, because we're not going to be doing a lot of regular old D&D expectations. We're going to be defying a lot. We're not doing anything with like your classic tropes of elves and dwarves and things like that. We've completely thrown all of that out and made our own with some ingredients that we found familiar and some not so familiar. So hopefully you guys enjoy what we have prepared. So without further ado, it is a time of great struggles and the heralded falling of the red star. Vashnyara from the skies is now. Nations and peoples are mobilizing to benefit for the power the star brings. Peace, prosperity, or even power. And in these times of struggles, unlikely friendships are forged. A musician from the star realm of singing centuries, known as the Consort, a destined warrior of the primordial void storm wastes, a rebel of the scheming hungry dreamers, known as the Grigori, and a being from a bygone era returned to life amongst his kin of philosophizing creations, known as the Lightforged. Now in the hazardous borderlands between the skylit realm of the Lightforged and the tempestuous void, our party breaks camp. Meanwhile, something just out of sight watches patiently. All right, so that's sort of where that's the crawl, right? And now we're gonna like fade in, and you're gonna see episode 1 show up on screen right now. It's called, and I love puns. It's The Less I Know, the Biter. See a black void as low playing horns come in sort of like a minor movement, like pretty melancholic, right? They're filling the space with that soft drone. If you ever watch Star Wars, it's that sort of like sad, ominous horn kind of music, right? We see this camera seems to be now moving through these dark storm clouds that are flashing off into booming lightning bolts and bursts of thunder of all different colors. Not just your standard lightning, but sort of a prismatic lightning. The camera breaks through the cloud cover and it shows this desolate, ruined, speckled wasteland towards a faint little flickering flame in the distance with its smoke trail, a small fire out there. The camera soars over this dull gray and sort of taupish colored dunes. It flies over this gigantic monument, obviously a statue to some forlorn dignitary, now lost to time. It passes under a great span, or a great archway connecting these two giant purplish rocky hillscapes. Roars of that distant thunder from those void storms is now getting softer, but these horns just do not give up. Then above it comes a soft piccolo singing out, trying to fight against these horns. We're getting closer and closer to this campsite now. But as we get closer, the piccolo kind of starts fading away again, and we hear some twinkling, suspicious strings as this large, shadowy figure lurks up a dune to spy on whatever that's around that fire is. It's dark lit, it's front lit from us, so we can't really see what exactly it is, but it's obviously made of these shrouded, dusty capes that sort of like just expand its body. So we don't really know how big this thing is from here. But then the music amplifies as we get closer to this being, as the camera kind of flies over its shoulder, and it reveals underneath its mask is just more blackness, except for these really angry, scolding red eyes. And then it cuts away. It cuts over to the camp, and we hear the piccolo again. and we see our party breaking camp for the day to get ready to march to Cinderberry. Cinderberry is obviously a town, but it's also named after the lone or sole inhabitant or permanent inhabitant, Cinderberry themselves. So, party. One at a time, I'm going to ask you guys to tell me about what your morning ritual was like when you break camp. So use this time to introduce yourselves by the way you act. And if you need someone, if nobody wants to volunteer, I will call on volunteers. So you'll be voluntold to go. Who's super excited first? Who wants to do it?
Z, wake up! It's time to go. We gotta explore.
It's early though.
But there's so much to see.
But we've been seeing it.
Well, we got more to see, and they have to come with us.
Well, okay. So Serena's like the not sleeping, but just like laying eyes closed, trying to avoid the day. She's not a morning person.
Obviously, I'm excessively excited. As soon as dawn breaks, I'm all over it. I'm ready to go. Not that I would have liked to have stopped at night, but because of everybody else, of course I will. I'm hanging out with a little buddy of mine by the name of Note. He's a furry little creature that hangs out. He's about yay big, the size of my hand. And he's got fur, looks kind of like has a fox head and scales on his belly and a kind of fish-looking tail. And he's kind of rummaging around in people's backpacks and looking through things, just curious to see if he can find something. And I'm also kind of tinkering around with some of my camping gear and things like that.
Sure. So are you mostly organized? Is everything kind of ready to go for the morning because you're so excited, or is it scattered? Or
all of my explorer and climbing gear is on point. If I ever have any artifacts or anything like that, or if I find something random like a cool rock, I'll kind of just throw it in my bag and maybe I'll find it later.
Yeah. Oh,
Never
cool.
know when you'll find a cool rock.
Yeah. No, thank you. Perfect.
I think that should be the motto for the game. You never know when you find a cool rock. That's the tagline for episode 1.
Yeah.
In a similar, or I guess in a very dissimilar state of dishevelment, you would see Rajin has a bunch of stuff kind of all over the place. Like parts of his pack are disassembled, and there's scattered armor and pieces like a shoulder pad and like the front half of his breastplate. The only thing that seems to be in any form of organization at all is whatever the flattest piece of ground or rock there is. He has several ink vials and weird metallic things that look kind of like screwdrivers, but you can see like there's weird energy swirling through them. And he is hunched over with his like, you know, his blackish purple scales as he's kind of hunched over, and you can see that he's meticulously moving his hands in concentric symbology and shapes in the circles and there's different like sigils. And you can see him like tink 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 tapping things into the inside of his armor, and then you see him like overlay some ink on top of it, and you hear like a sizzle as it pops. As he is meticulously re-etching every single rune into his armor, into his blade, and then you see him like take a deep breath, and you see him put his hand to his chest, and then you can see him wince as he's carving one of the runes into his chest, and then you hear the same tss, and you smell the smell of burning flesh as he sears the acid into one of the runes in his chest. And once he's complete, he meticulously caps all the things, and he rolls the small tools and chisels up into a leather pouch, and he ties that off, and he carefully places that inside of his bag, and he carefully puts all the tinctures inside of a shatterproof case and puts that in his bag, and then just jams everything else in as he kind of haphazardly begins to buckle himself into his armor, which if you've ever put on plate armor, it definitely takes two people to do. So you can see it's kind of like off kilter in some spots. The shoulder pad is slightly slightly off where it should be, and he just kind of slings his blade and like adjusts his shield, and then he realizes that he takes the blade back out, puts it back down here, puts the shield back this way, and he just sort of Well, Cinderberry, is that where we're going? I guess we should go.
What you doing?
Oh, and he pulls out his scimitar. He says, I have to place these every day. I believe you've asked me that question every day.
Yeah, but it's so cool.
Oh. It's cool now because the acid has cooled and it's no longer going to burn your hands.
Why do you have to do it every day?
They'll go away.
But why?
You know, Min,
I don't
some people
know.
don't like to talk in the morning.
But if I ask them enough, maybe they'll change.
I can still hear you. Standing in front of me.
So Zarina gets up at this point, and the most noticeable thing about her is that outside of her face, all of her skin is just covered in clothing. She's always wearing gloves, always wearing just up to her neck, turtlenecks, pants that tuck down into her boots, never shows any skin outside of just her face. And she just kind of sits up from where she was laying on the ground, and she's clutching her backpack. Everything that she owns in the entire world is in this backpack and next to her. And so she just kind of sits up and kind of stretches and then reaches out to the back of her neck, and she's like, Min, could you check my neck? And kind of pulls her hair back, and she's like, it's just sore mostly.
Okay. And she kind of does this strange thing with her hands and looks down, and you guys can actually see this kind of light start emitting from her. And Min's tattoos look like musical scales all over her body. And you can see that they kind of light up very faintly as she does this. How's that?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Thank you.
Moments before the rest of camp awoke, Brother Tok stood alone, apart from the camp. He needs no sleep, and he does not rest with the others. And moments before they rose, he blindfolded himself to the world with a bandana. And then he drew his great sword, which only he may wield, revealing its pure white and shining blade, a sword named the Redeeming Grace. He said a prayer that the blade would see no use that day. And as he drew the blade, he poured a bottle of wine across it, hoping to quench its thirst, that it would not seek out the fell things of the world. Then he swung once to the east for honor, once to the west for valor, a third swing to the south for justice, and once more to the north for mercy. Then he knelt and said another prayer for those that have fallen into evil, and that mercy might find them instead of the blade. Then he removed his blindfold, wiped the blade clean, broke the bottle, and dropped his blindfold on it, and returned to the camp.
Dang. All right, cool. You all get inspiration, so start the day with inspiration for that sweet storytelling skills. Y'all brought it today, so thank you. All right. So you're still a ways out from Cinderberry. So you guys start preparing to leave, I assume. So we cut over to you guys walking across this sort of wasteland. Until you get to a sort of a cross in the road. There's a branching path here, and you're pretty sure one of these ways is a shortcut, but you don't remember which one it is. So you approach an old riverbed, and it's and when I say old, I mean it's very old. It's cracked. It's basically a glorified ravine at this point. For the rains have not fallen. For it is still quote unquote winter at this time. As one of the paths you look over and you see down this path, there's still snow covered hills out in the distance, and yeah, you're not quite sure which way it is to go. Not a lot of people travel out to Cinderberry, so trail might be hard to find. Be sure both paths probably do, but you're not sure which one is the faster one. What do you do?
I've never been here before. Have any of you been here?
Whether we take the shorter path or the longer path makes no difference. All roads lead to death eventually, and then back into this world. It is arbitrary which path you choose.
He's very dark.
Rajan kind of puts a hand like on the back of his head and scratches at his scale. This is you won't get anything useful out of him. He just keeps talking like that. I haven't.
Maybe he just needs a friend.
Maybe
I had a friend once, and I look over at Rajan.
Here it is.
Oh my god.
Let it out.
Okay.
He called me brother.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He was kind. Mm-hmm. He was a leader amongst his people. And then he left.
Good? Was he the best at anything?
No.
Oh.
And he knew it. He was humble, like you. And note, your parents have pointed out your lack of humility 47 times the last time you saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
I expect 47 more rebukes the next time we see them.
Yes.
As for being dark, there is a light that shines within me, a light beyond all imagination. I was forged by it, for I am a child of the sun itself.
I have light.
Thank you, Talk.
That you do.
Thank you, Talk. He like aggressively hits him on his like armored shoulder. You've outdone yourself, as always.
But you didn't answer my question if you'd actually been here before.
I have not either. I'm still working on my land legs.
That way. I'm going to make a survival check. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to make an absurd statement, and that's where we're going to go.
That way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Positivity will get us there.
Yes.
You're pretty sure the ravine is the shortcut. You do know though it's a little bit drier, or excuse me, it's a little bit wetter. Or at least you're leaving more footprints this way, unbeknownst as you guys trail off. And we see that because the camera remains as you guys leave, and all of a sudden that ominous horn comes back, right? And you see a stone clawed hand scratch at one of your footprints or boot prints, and pick up some of the earth to its face. Once again, its face is still covered except for those red eyes, and says, "They've taken the ravine." And you see the camera pans out a little bit, and we see that there's four lackeys with this guy. There's four. These are purplish looking creatures. They're sort of like big, bulky, burly. I don't want to call them men because their proportions are wrong. Their heads are bigger. Their arms are pretty small, but they have very long, skinny legs, but big pot bellies. They're all coked, so like they have like a lavender purple kind of skin, as well as sort of like a lot of like cracks of dust on them, as well as very colorful markings in different kinds of mud. But regardless, because they all have different kind of patterns on them, they all share one thing in common. They all have two black markings of black mud across their eyes. And he says, we go back to the man with the red eyes and stony skin, and says, "They went that way. After them." And you see the four start sprinting ahead of this guy he kind of like stands back, puts arms kind of this way. As the last one's going to go, he grabs him on the shoulder and says, "Remember, she wants them alive," and sends them off your way. So what could happen? That's not bad. So, anyways, you guys are cut back to you guys wandering. Cut to you guys back wandering through this ravine, hopelessly lost. You've kind of lost track of the path, but you do know it's got. Do you go straight? I don't know. It's not very great. The big pressing concern right now is that on the horizon you can definitely see a dust storm coming, which is pretty common for these parts. It's not great. So I guess I guess the question here is, Zarina, were you or was it Mania who was leading it?
I would have inadvertently went ahead everybody.
Right. You know, in your heart of hearts, that you probably took the wrong choice. Do you let everyone else know, or do you keep that to yourself?
Hey guys.
Yes.
I may have gotten a little ahead of myself, and we definitely went the wrong way.
That's impossible, for there is no such thing as a wrong way.
Okay, we went the wrong way.
Say the same thing. It's fine.
I wasn't
Yeah,
ready
we
for
went the wrong way.
Ugh.
If you repeat it enough, you'll accept it, okay?
Would it be longer to go back and go the other way, or should we just push?
What if we just
on?
cut straight across
What do you fear?
off the path?
We're in a ravine, though.
Either way, I believe that both paths would take us there. One was just faster, if my memory serves. So when we stay on this path, as Zarina says, it take us longer to double back and take the correct path. We might as well stay on the course you've chosen for us, Min.
Once more into the storm. Forward!
Okay, I'll close my eyes and twirl around, and then wherever I point, that's where we go.
Or just kind of guide her the way that we were going. just
Mania, whichever direction you end up going, you take one step and you fall into what would be something like muddy quicksand into one of your legs, and you get kind of stuck there. The earth around in this direction you want to go seems to be not as secure as you want. There's you see that there are some rocks that maybe you could hop along to avoid trudging through this exhausting sands.
Yep, I was right. Wrong way.
Yeah, you're able to get your leg out, by the way. It's just annoying. Your boot's okay,
Yeah,
but you probably have to take the sand out of it.
I plop down on the side away from where one of the rocks is, take my shoe off, and start beating the sand out. So do we still want to go this way, or maybe a different way?
Eric, how far apart do these rocks look? Are this like we jumping from rock to rock?
Yeah, you're probably going to have to jump.
So as Min, as you ask the question, are we going this way? Rajan kind of adjusts his armor and then looks at the spacing of the rocks and says, I won't hear the end of this. I don't think I can make it across those rocks in this heavy armor.
Ooh, what if we threw the armor all the way across and then you got back in the arm afterward?
Eric, I'm going to attempt to jump from rock to rock.
God damn it.
Okay. You are, out of anyone, you're also probably the most capable to just trudge through whatever this is.
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted to do, but I also want to show Rajan that it can be done even by a Warforged.
God damn it.
Right. So, do you call him out and be like, Rajan, take a look, or or do you just do it silently and just start?
I give him a knowing glance without making eye contact, but he knows he's just been sized up. And if I should fail the jump, I'm simply going to trudge forward.
Oh
22.
Yeah. That's a very adept and graceful leap to leap. You get
Here's what I wanted to do. I forgot to say it though. I wanted to pick up
right.
Mania first and carry her as I jumped.
Too late. You rolled, my dude.
It's cool.
It's all right.
I just imagine that he has like an expressionless robot face too. So he just looks and just casts disappearing lights at me and then jumps across.
Yeah, and you exactly right, and you're probably like, "Don't give me that look! Don't give me that freaking
He
look!"
knows.
Don't throw at me.
Wipe that smug look off your face.
You change that tone right now.
So yeah, I'm crossing now. I would like to throw a rope if possible, as I have rope. I'd like to throw it and see if we can. Rajan, can you kind of anchor one side? I'll anchor the other, and perhaps we can make the path more negotiable.
Yeah. As soon as you throw the rope, he kind of picks up on what you're doing. He's no stranger to the void ships, the void crafts, and
although we give each other flack, this is what we've done for years to each other. Like, this is our relationship, and he knows I can't really change it.
Yeah.
It's not in my makeup.
It's not in his program.
Excellent. Cool. All right. The remainder of you get to use advantage.
He's the brother I never wanted.
For sure.
I'm
Athletics or
not
acrobatics would work based on how you describe it. You're not?
No.
Okay, cool. There's regular.
I'm too excited, and I didn't really pay attention to what they were doing. And I'm like, oh, wait for me, as I'm like barely getting my shoe back on.
Yeah.
Look, you're hopping with one foot.
Yep.
Putting it on.
Athletics. If you're really like using your strength here and jumping around, or if you're being more graceful, then it's acrobatics, right?
Super graceful, and I'm singing while I'm doing it.
What are you singing?
I am singing the tune that I sung while I was exploring one of the cave systems that had lots of rocks between, so I didn't have to get in the water. I could kind of see down, and it's just a little tune. I can't actually sing, so I'm not gonna, make this horrible for everybody. By the way,
no, you sing great. It's easy. Look at that role playing.
I sing so wonderfully.
Yeah.
Okay, acrobatics on my end.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You get so close to the end. You're almost there. Thankfully, Talk is there to grab you, but he's going to have to like rush to grab you. Do you see the opportunity? Do you do it, or do you let her fall?
I have to let her learn from her experience, but as she falls, I reach down to pick her up.
All right. You get so good until you literally land on the last rock, and you're like doing that precarious balancing. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! You look to Brother Talk, and Brother Talk, you just do like, and she just slips into the sand.
Arms at the sides, and it's almost one of those things where I raise them after knowing I could have raised them earlier, but it's just kind of like, oh no, here.
Yeah.
As you reach to pick me up, I jump up and give you a really big hug.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's one of those things, people that really can't hug, but they appreciate hugs. They just try to not let it on. And Talk appreciates the hug and gives you a pat. Yeah. And he explains, he goes, little sister, tread more carefully, and the rocks shall find your feet.
Careful isn't fun, though.
The winds pick up as the dust storm gets ever so closer, faster than maybe you predicted.
So on the other side, she just kind of looks out at the rope, and then she looks at Rajin and is like, you should go first. I'll hold the rope. No,
I'm the anchor. Go.
It's going to take you a lot longer to go.
Pull me out. It's fine.
So my plan is not to jump from rock to rock. I actually want to get across this similar to is the ground stable at all?
It's like a Newtonian fluid. I don't want to get into super sciencey crap because that's not really my style of play. But yeah, it's kind of like quicksandy, right?
I'm not a good jumper.
Are you gonna do one of those water walking chameleon or lizard things and
sprint
and never touch the ground?
Yeah, I guess I'll try. I just want to keep a hand on the rope pretty much.
Yeah.
And very carefully maneuver my way from rock to rock, jumping as little as possible, trying to strategically take the way there that is the least.
Yeah, definitely. That's acrobatics with advantage, right? Because you're using the rope. And thank you for the explanation. That's perfect.
Okay.
All right.
I think
air horn. Yeah, a congratulatory air horn in the distance for rolling the first 20 of the game. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, you make it look very easy. You barely need to use the rope. In fact, if you want to, you could say that you did it without it.
She jumps up and walks on the rope, and she's like, "Check it out, guys!"
Yeah. She turns back and looks at Rachel. Should have gone first.
Do you flourish at all by doing it, or are you very practical and
very practical?
Okay, yeah.
No flourish here.
Right. Okay. So then, Ragin, you're the only one left there holding a rope. What are you gonna do?
He again looks down at the spacing of the rocks, adjusts in his ill-fitted armor, looks back at the storm, gives the rope like a tug to like let Brother Talk know that he's kind of coming across, and then he like hesitantly steps on the first rock and then leaps to the second rock. But it's not like a graceful like 1 foot off ballerina leap. He jumps with both feet and hopes to just land that far, like he's doing a long distance jump.
Totally.
What am I did acrobatics for this nonsense? Let's see what happens here.
As he's going across, I turn to the ladies and I go, his brother loved this game. Whoa, the ropes are shaking! The ropes are shaking, Raging! Whoa!
Not the
I
best.
don't know. I don't know if you should be doing that. I'm concerned.
It'll make him stronger.
Yeah. And you see every leap he lands, and then there's like a...
Yeah.
As he... and
Yeah,
he
you're-
whips the rope back and then jumps again, and then tumbles himself back forward onto the standing position. So it takes way longer than everyone else.
You do. You make it, but you are exhausted.
Great.
So go ahead and give yourself 1 level of exhaustion.
Great.
Do you hide that from the party, I guess, so to speak, or do you?
No, you can see. I mean,
you know what I
if
mean?
If you can see a Voidborn switch,
You're like-
you can.
He's milking it.
Yeah.
You're doing that.
Yeah, like he gets to the last one, and he like stabilizes himself, even though he could have just stepped forward off of the last rock, and he like,
Yeah.
and then he just deadpan looks over to Talk and throws the rope at him and says, "Great, it was my favorite game. Thank you. Reliving that is part of my past. Let's go." And he just sort of adjusts again in his armor and steps off onto the staging ground.
Yeah, and I retrieve the rope, coil it up, put it, and I go, the dust storm approaches.
Thank you.
Yeah. You can see up ahead in the distance, only barely through the storm, that's now whipping around you, a small little outpost. So you can imagine, if you would, a small little stone set, kind of retaining wall, maybe like 5 feet high, surrounding sort of like a ranch looking place. It actually has sort of looks to be some vegetation, which is quite the surprise. It's probably the first thing that caught your eye is the bright red leaves that grow here around Cinderberry of the trees in it. It's almost like an oasis, so to speak, with a little retaining wall around it.
Do we know
However,
why we're here?
You need to talk to Cinderberry because they're going to help you get to Vashnyara.
Okay. That's it. Just make sure.
Yep. Cinderberry's an old goat. Helpful to travelers,
Like
especially around these parts.
Literally a goat?
No.
Okay. I don't know. We made up a
Metaphorically.
world with
I know.
I mean,
Right.
it could be
So it
anything.
could be a literal goat.
I'd be okay if
That's
it was a
what-
goat.
that's what
I
I'm
would too.
clarifying.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But right. So then we cut to you guys basically doing the sort of the hand thing as the storm's coming around you. Probably not for Talk, because Talk's
No, I don't need to
whatever.
breathe, and it's just
Yeah.
kind of like trudge forward.
Right.
Yeah, I think Ragin has like you can see him like pull out of the interior of his breastplate, like a shemagh kind of thing that you would wear in the intense storms of the void cloud, and he kind of wraps around his head and trudges forward, kind of into this storm, cutting a swath for everyone to kind of follow behind as he makes his way towards this ranch house.
What's your passive perception? What's everyone's passive perception?
9.
Tell me where to see it on the sheet because my brain is.
It'll be
It's
10
11.
plus
16.
Yeah.
Whew, okay.
I am perceptive.
Yes, you are perceptive. However, this might be your first dust storm, as catching you by surprise. Shadowy, almost immune to the dust storm themselves, just like Talk here, are those painted men who have surprised you, and they get to take a surprise round, and they're obviously going after Raijin and then Talk. One of them two of them are going to swing big bony clubs at each of you. All right, so this is the first one going to Raging, and then we're going to roll initiative. All right.
Okay.
Armor class,
That
Raging.
is, I don't have my shield out, but that is still a miss.
Okay. And to you, Talk. 11.
Does not hit.
Cool. So I think they get it close to you and they start swinging. It's not necessarily a miss so much as you guys like fight them off from like doing anything to them. And then behind these two are two more of these painted men. And let's roll some initiative and let me reveal them. And if you haven't already, drag over your photos of your characters to Roll20 so you can have tokens. We're not using a grid, but it's just proverbial.
Nat 1 on initiative.
It's a good
I'll
start.
go tomorrow.
And I actually get advantage on initiative rolls.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Cool, because I'm really glad I do, actually.
As Meta pulls out the biggest picture in the freaking world.
I actually don't have
I
a
don't know how to
picture.
resize it.
It's okay.
Oh,
It's
that's
pretty
okay.
big.
Eric can resize it for you.
Okay, have fun with
Yeah.
that. It's very big in your face. Ah, I'm right here.
That's awesome.
That's what I. That's
Oh,
what I
wait.
look like when I wake you up in the morning. I'm like right in your face.
Right there, yep.
All right, sorry.
No
Initiative.
problem.
I'm sure I just have a random picture I can use, though.
There's Talk.
Perfect.
How come I always roll so low?
I don't know.
I'm in
I
the
guess
wrong
we
game.
rolled initiative before we did the tokens, so now I have to add you guys manually, which sucks,
Oh.
but that's okay. No
Oh
problem.
wait, mine got on. Mine got on there.
Yeah.
It's because you rerolled, I think, after you dropped it.
I never rolled it to begin
Yep, there you go.
with.
Sorry. Let me just add you guys in here real quick.
Sorry, guys. This is the first time Eric's ever used Roll20, so...
I'm not the one who done goofed, Mike. I'm not. Don't throw this at me. I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
You're totally allowed to. And Zarina. What'd you roll, Zarina? 13?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Rangin, you rolled. Where's yours?
13.
Oh, 13 above it. Yep.
I just put a
Talk.
picture of a flower in.
3. And then. Okay.
Was there one or two of these baddies?
There should be 4
Yeah.
you should see of different colors.
Oh, I see them now.
There's basically 2 are occupied here, and then there's about 2 more coming in through the sands here.
I'm the
It's
flower.
impossible to see anything really far away at this point. These people are kind of in sort of like that whirling sand. They're almost just like silhouettes, right? Even to you. However, they don't seem to be as worried about the sand as you, like I said. So,
So
top of the order.
Two of them are all up on us, and the other 2 are kind of making their way in. Is that...
Yep.
Okay. From the same direction?
okay.
Like, they're all coming towards Talk and Raging?
No, they see like they're flanking you, like they're pinstering right now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool. So the next thing I want to know is Zarina and Raging. You have the same initiative, so talk amongst yourselves who wants to go, and then tell me what you're doing.
Lead the way.
So
Roll-
Zarina, you
yeah.
can go first if you'd like.
They're in near, like think of them in near distance, so within 30 feet,
Okay.
so you could like get to them if you wanted to, right? But you're
Okay.
not engaged. Raging, you are engaged with one,
Yep.
right? Same thing with Talk. You are engaged
Okay.
with one.
Yeah, I mean, if we're leaving it up to whoever wants to go first, I can go first, Zarina, if that's what you want. I have no problem with that.
I have
You
no
are quicker.
preference.
You are quicker than me, so
I am, and I have all this cool stuff that I can do.
you do.
Yeah, I yeah, I can go first. I don't care. That works for me.
Sure.
I'm gonna be shooting at people. You said within 30 feet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But you are shooting into a storm. So I think it's fair to say that's disadvantage.
Yeah. Okay, I'll run forward. That makes sense. Plus, it would probably be pretty hard to see at 30 feet anyway, with a storm going. So I guess Zarina sees the one closest to her and kind of just pulls her shirt collar up over her nose and mouth so she doesn't have to worry about like sand too much, and just kind of charges towards them. And is going to attack with her short sword. She just kind of pulls out.
Definitely. Okay. Which one, red or yellow? Or one of the ones that's engaging Talk, or the one that's engaging Raijin right now?
Yeah, I think yellow.
Okay, cool. What you got next to yellow?
Thank you.
Awesome. Make your attack. That is good enough.
Okay.
And ooh, yeah, you bloody it. You get a good hit on it. It as it pierces and it screams. These things have, what would I would call it? They have ghoulish like screams, like unearthly screams as you do that into its big pop belly. It pulls out dark, rich purple blood, stains your rapier, and it's going to try to get ready to hit you again when it has a chance. But good move.
I actually think I get to hit it again, or hit it for extra
do you have a
damage.
bonus?
Yeah. If I take the attack action and it hits, I get an extra 1d8 damage.
From
my hunter archetype. Not hunter. I am the Gloomstalker.
Oh. Wow, that's really good. Yeah, if you hit something and you do an extra 1d8 damage to it.
I think it's just on your first turn, or if you move, you have to move like a certain. It's weird.
Oh, okay. Well, I trust you that's the way it works.
It's one of those fun new Xanathar classes.
I've also never played it, so
yeah, no, I
am more than like I could be wrong.
That's fine with me.
It's pretty fresh.
If you have any, Chad, if you have any experience with the freshness,
at the start of your first turn of each combat, your walking speed increases by 10 feet, which lasts until the end of that turn. If you take the attack action on that turn, you can make one additional weapon attack as part of that action. If that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d8 damage of the weapon's damage type.
Oh, cool. So you get to attack again then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on your first turn in combat, you get to make 2 attacks.
Yeah,
Heck
got it.
yeah.
And then if the second
Perfect.
attack hits, you do bonus damage as well.
Right.
All right.
So roll short sword again, basically.
Probably not good
enough.
Oh, well.
Not good
Use your
enough.
inspiration.
This time it grabs your hand as it's coming down, and you're fighting with it right for it to come down.
Right.
Cool. All right, Raijin, what do you do?
So I have one on me, and he's got a club out, and I'm not about that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't use both my hands to wield different things, so I reach across and grab my scimitar or my cutlass, and in one motion, I just kind of take it and rake it up towards him, both pulling it out of the scabbard and striking at him. And now I will find my character sheet among 17,000 screens and hit him with a 19.
That's good.
8 slashing damage.
Oh yeah, it's still up, but you rip right over its pot belly.
Fantastic. And I think that's all he does.
Purple blood spray into the sand, just gets whisked away. Some rocks start. So like the wind is like picking up again, and now like small little like rocks and debris is flying. It's not a good time.
He kind of like slashes him, and like without looking over, because he knows that Talk is like right next to him, and that Talk can see better than anyone in the storm. He just kind of slashes it across this thing's chest, and then just shouts out, "Talk, how many?"
Too many.
I don't know why I ask. And that's all he does. That's the end of his turn.
Cool. All right, it's these. I mean, I'm just gonna call them what they are. They are Sarkagons, as I described.
Yeah, we don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
No, it's okay. They are left over from the wastelands of the old place that you are from, Raijin.
I like it.
We'll talk about it later. It's fine.
I'm excited.
Cool. This one's gonna. So the one that we're gonna stay. The camera's gonna stay on Raijin here as you fight. This one here. So let me do the old attack arena.
Miss.
A 9 is probably not gonna do it.
No, you're trying to beat us 17 right now.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Cool. The one facing Talk is going to go now.
Okay.
Natural 20. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Okay. And then so he hits me, and I'm going now roll damage.
Okay. Why didn't it?
With the critical hit.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So how much damage is that?
10 total.
10. Actually, yep.
Okay, so I'm going to rebuke the violent, which is using. No, it doesn't work. Dang it! It only works on a creature other than me. I was so smug. I was going to reflect all the damage back onto him, but it doesn't work that way. I take 10 points of damage, guys.
You guys hear a loud clink.
That's inevitable.
This purple one, it doesn't seem to care whether you're what you are as it attacks with the tremendous force. It hits your armor. It goes into it as it gets desperately close to that light source of yours. We hear the crunch of armor. You look, and Talk gets hit pretty badly. All right, now back to this other one that's in front of Summer. I'll remember everyone's names. Zarina.
Okay. Yep.
A 19.
That's gonna hit.
It's for 6.
So now I use my channel divinity, and it must make a wisdom saving throw. DC 14.
13. So it fails.
So it fails. So it takes all the damage, and she does not.
Wait, it takes it takes the damage?
It absolutely takes all of its own damage, and if it had succeeded, it would have taken half.
Cool. So tell me what this looks like. What does that look like when you channel divinity?
Okay, so as I channel divinity, and she goes to stab, he goes to stab the Grigori. She does suffer the full wound, but then the wound transfers back through the blade, and like a venom seeps into its blood, and he suffers the pain and affliction that he caused, and she feels immediate and instant relief. She remembers the pain, but it has left her as if it was never there. And he is currently affected by this.
Oh, awesome! So like veiny purple, like thing, like the varicose or whatever veins, like the veiny stuff, like looks over his face. This creature like drops its spear or its club as it grabs its throat as it can't breathe, and it collapses. That was awesome. Cool. But there's still no problem. And there was one more. This one's going to come up to you, Zarina, though. Unfortunately, and
That's
also
okay.
count for you.
I can take it.
Boop. I rolled a 1. Surprise. Not good. So I think maybe it just doesn't attack. It stares dumbfounded at what happened.
We don't want to bust out Xanathar's lost notes for the crit fail tables.
No, it roars. It roars in anger and anguish, actually, as you felt its kin. Cool. My turn's over. It's Marina. No, it's Marina.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, we're done. I forget how the order.
Marina, then Talk.
Yep.
It's all right.
Back to me.
Back to the top.
Min, you can just say Min, because we're not the same person at all. Okay, so I'm gonna go after. Oh wait, is that guy dead? Is that what that little skull is? Sorry.
Yeah. Yellow's dead. Red is not.
Okay.
No
so I'm
problem.
gonna take my.
He's super camouflaged. I'm sorry.
It's actually a little hard to see, and I'm also old, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. Okay.
These old bones.
So I'm actually going to use my whip, and when I take my whip out, it actually looks like a streak of light, like prismatic light, where different ways that it moves actually kind of changes the view of color.
Like shimmering lasso of truth,
Yes.
right? Like that's
Sure.
what I'm picturing.
But it's not just
right?
gold, but
okay.
it's
I
all the
know
multitude
shimmering,
of
like
colors.
different. Yeah, prismatic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Same page. All right. Awesome.
All right, and I'm going after the red dude.
Yeah.
I can't tell the distance, but it's 60. So can I reach him?
I mean, you're with it. Yeah, you're within
Okay.
range to
Okay.
do this thing, but it's a whip, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a crit. You absolutely
Oh my
lash onto it.
gosh.
Double
you get
damage.
You get it right around its neck.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
What?
Great
So
job, friend.
do
It's
damage.
1d4
Oh,
slashing
so
damage.
Meta, Siri says whip in chat.
Yeah.
Just click on where it's the word whip in chat. There you go.
Yeah.
And then add an extra
Dope.
1d4, correct? Or did it add
I
it
think
in?
It should automatically do it for you.
Let's double see.
1d4 plus
1d4 equals 1.
Is your whip? What's your dex mod on your character?
My
4?
dex is 2. My modifier is 2.
Okay, so then this should be 4 plus 3, so 7 damage total.
Yeah.
I will fix that on your sheet later.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you have it lassoed around its throat as it's trying to fight with it off. We see purple coming down as it was roaring, and it stopped roaring immediately as it goes. And it's trying to grapple with this thing off of it. Good job.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Now it's your turn, Talk.
All right. Talk sees the fool who engaged him and draws the redeeming grace, his great sword, and he's going to attempt to take the assailant out at the legs, but leave him a line, a clean cut just below both patellas. He's going to
The
end.
kneecap.
Yes. So let's.
For those anatomy people playing at
For
home.
people who don't know.
20.
playing the anatomy game. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
All right, and then whoops, sorry, I forgot to just click on it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
Two
so
great rolls, though.
12,
man.
12 points of slashing damage.
Yeah. It collapses and screams as it's looking for its feet.
And I know this isn't an actual action, but my incidental action for kind of my movement, I can't really move into its space, but I'm almost like walking forward with my foot pressed on its forehead, pushing it down onto its back, and simply standing over it, in a threatening pose. This is now when the interrogation will begin.
Oh, okay. Cool. Now top of the order.
Sweet.
Okay, so I've still got this other one right here next to me with the whip like wrapped around its throat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to attack it with my short sword. Let's go for it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, perfect. 7 damage.
That's enough to fell the creature.
Yay!
It goes down. 1 second. Let me make a quick test. Okay. Thank you. That's good. Don't worry about it. I don't know how to GM roll, so you're just gonna see it, which is fine.
I'm just like,
It's good
what
for the
is that?
viewers.
Yeah, I think you can't GM roll by clicking on the character sheet. You have to manually type in
/GM roll. Oh, that's fine.
Like that.
Works for me.
It
right.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Cool. Still blinded by the dust storm. Rajan is just going to kill the one in front of him, hopefully,
Right.
or embarrass himself.
So in okay, I forgot to actually say it last time, but it wouldn't have mattered. So your attack, the wind and the storm is so bad that if you rely on sight, you're attacking at disadvantage, regardless of the distance. Now with the second round of combat
Okay.
here.
Yeah, this guy's right in front of him, right? So I guess he wouldn't be too much in sight. In fact, because Talk is so near to him, and he heard Talk sever this guy's pieces, I'm gonna action surge, and attack this guy again. God damn it!
6. No, I don't do fails. That's fine. You whip at it, and you just get nothing but air, right? As it moves around you. Once again, these things can just they're not affected by this the way you are.
You don't do fails, but Rajan does.
Yeah.
Yep. All the time. Oops.
Bummer, right? It's okay.
Such a bummer.
That's a bummer. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to be that person in the party.
Yep.
Cool.
It's me.
He's gonna in fact, I think what it looks like is you swing at where he was, you can't really see, right? So you close your eyes and you swing, and you open your eyes and he's not there.
Yeah, it connects with nothing.
It's vanished.
And then I kind of adjust and swing again in this, and it's all shadows, and it's still nothing.
Yeah. And there's nothing. In fact, it has disappeared. It has ran off. It has ran off into the sands. I'm going to say because it's effectively disadvantaged. I mean, I don't want to rob you of an opportunity attack because it technically does that, but it's also you can't technically see it. It's obfuscated.
Yeah, I think
and then that one. Cool. You cool? All right. Cool. I wanted to say that's the type of game I was hoping we could play, but we actually didn't breach that subject yet, so that's great. Welcome to a first session of playing D&D and Forever with people. Everybody, hi, how's it going? Yeah. So I love the picture of you trying your best to slash the shadows, and you look around and it's just not there, right? It just took off.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad.
So,
I'm glad I could roll the first nat one of the game.
But these things are you fell the rest of them. The last one flees. Where we'll worry about later. It's not a problem right now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks make me feel good, Eric.
Right.
You failed.
You got it. No worries. No worries at all. Talk, did you want to interrogate that one that you killed or that's dying? Or
essentially, I'm going to. Okay. I'm going to. I do, and what I want to do is attempt to persuade him that if he explains himself, his mission, who he has loyalty to, I will save his life. But if he does not, I will end his life and see him again when he returns to this realm, hopefully in a kinder, gentler form.
What languages do you know?
I know quite a few. So I know Lightforged, Common, Voidborn, and Grigori. I assume whatever those languages are.
Right. And are you speaking in all of them or trying whatever you can? Because it doesn't seem to listen to you.
I'm going to do one, then the other. First Common, then Voidborn, then Grigori.
Right.
And then if none of those work, I'll speak in Lightforged.
I also have a plan.
It's
we'd have to get to it sooner or later, but we can talk about it if this doesn't work.
All right. It's going to take too long for your chances to respond that it's going to expire unless somebody heals it.
I'm going to lay on hands and I'm going to cure its wounds at its legs and then return my sword back to its throat.
Okay. All right. When you speak in Grigori, it responds crudely back to you and says, "Rust bucket," and spits its blooded spit at you.
Blood is precious to a Grigori and should not be wasted. Do not defile the Grigori tongue by wasting blood as such. This is your chance. Do you really want to die here in the desert, alone, in the dust?
Yeah. It just stares at you and says, "Stupid rust bucket, know nothing." And it's speaking Grigori, but it's not Grigori. The way it's too crude, right? It's just not. It's using its language.
It's like a kid that just learned a bunch of insults in another language, and so here's what I am going to do. I'm going to take my rope and I'm going to tie one end to one of his stumps. I'm going to hitch it to him, and then I'm going to hitch it to another, and we can drag this guy to Cinderberry.
Okay.
Yeah, unless anyone else wants to try to discuss with it, we can.
Which I think they should do because.
Can I try? I have an idea.
I also.
But you have an idea, Z.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly time sensitive, but it could work. We could wait for him to fall asleep.
We could put him to sleep now, and then I cast sleep on his face, 5d8 damage. Because why not? I'm a man of action. Plus, it'll make dragging him through the sandy dust storm desert easier on him. So he's asleep now, unless he has more than.
Yeah. You guys basically have to scream at each other in this storm right now.
It is
right,
my
like it's whipping around. Yeah,
desert is my. I didn't remember before. I didn't even like make that connection in my brain that we were in a desert. But, yeah,
that's fine.
It doesn't like slow us. So, we can drag him and take him. I'll say. So if we could get out of the storm and take him to, like inside or find shelter or something, it would be easier because I do have to lay down.
You would
What
hear...
about that shack thing that you were saying earlier? Or
Cinderberry.
I thought there was a standalone thing. Did
That's
I miss
Cinderberry.
that? It's a tiny little. Okay.
Yeah, that's out in the distance, in the middle of this. I mean, it was out in the distance, and now you have no idea because it's a storm, and you just fought something, and you're turned around.
Can I do some kind of check to see if there's any like outcroppings or a place that we could get out of the immediate?
You have favorite terrain. That seems like a reasonable request. Anyone else would have been like you would have to rely on magical means, but as the desert is your favorite terrain, I think you can make a survival check here to do that.
While Zarina is kind of like looking around,
not great.
you'd hear Ragin kind of mumble just under the din of the wind. I want to go away. One got away.
Right.
What was that?
All right.
Wait, what?
One got away.
Like he's gone?
Boy. Yeah.
Gone?
Yep.
Just out there.
Yeah.
In the storm.
Raging, remember, those that get away always come back.
Yes, that's why I'm mentioning it. Thank you, Talk.
So, perfect. So when you say the one got away, Summer, you you find them shelter. But that once again, the camera cuts over to that bleeding, leaving. I guess this one was the blue painted. I forget what I call them. Sarkagons, I think is what they were called. Yeah, Sarkagons. It returns to that that cloaked figure, right, and says, "What do you mean they got away?" All right, and it says. Assemble, and it just says, "Assemble the others. I'll find them. I'll find them myself right now, and then we'll meet up again." She will not be pleased about this, and at this point, you see he flushes off one of his robes, and you see that underneath him are these stone-like wings, and he takes flight, and it seems to not care about the storm, or at least the part of the storm that he's in, and flies above it. Anyways, back to you guys. How's it going?
He's a flyer.
Pretty good.
You found shelter. Yeah, you found some shelter.
Cool.
Okay, so we haven't talked about this literally at all, but the Grigori do enter dreams, and they, do intuit thoughts from people. Like they search people's minds for knowledge that they are particularly seeking. As a trader, I can't long-term retain that knowledge because the chains that keep that knowledge for me are gone.
Yeah.
So I can know it and tell it to people, but it's not the same as like this long-lasting memory.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like, no, go ahead.
I'm trying to insinuate where you're going with it. Like, are you going to try to do that to this Archagon that you have captured?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my goal is to kind of get inside his head for, I mean, we haven't talked about this literally at all. So
Yeah.
I feel
this
is a good place to discuss it though, first session.
Absolutely. So is this something like a racial, like detect surface thoughts kind of thing? Like detect thoughts?
In a way, I didn't like really write any mechanical function with it.
Because we talked about the feeding thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it would kind of be somewhere in between like perception and persuasion, because you do have to kind of sort through those thoughts. It's just it's like a willing target.
Oh, it's an
almost.
insight then. That sounds like it's insight, right?
Yeah,
your
think
ability
that would
to
work.
decode the images as you feed to get yourself a lasting impression of what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So, are you guys cool with the Grigori doing this, right?
Well, not necessarily, because it is in a sense stealing. Those thoughts are his, and
Yes,
it is. He has not willingly. He's not willing to share them yet, but I think he could. Perhaps when he awakes, you can talk with him.
You can ask him if you can steal his thoughts.
No, if he would share them willingly. And if he does not, he knows what waits for him. And I look at my blade in its sheath.
If it's appropriate, he can be awake by now, right? It's been time you found shelter.
Sure.
So we haven't really discussed what we know what the Grigori and the Consort's relationship are. I kind of assume that the Lightforged don't have many enemies, being on the opposite side of the planet, and just kind of being who they are. But what do we think the Grigori and the Voidborn's relationship are?
Probably not great.
I would say they're not as bad as the Consorts, but I think because the Consorts, they're at least to the Voidborn, they're kind of easy picking.
Yeah, I think Zarina is very cautious about her place in the group because she wasn't expecting to find really a place anywhere. Even within the Grigori, she was kind of different because she did not want to be a Grigori. And she's very conscious of the way that just who she is, how that impacts others and what people are going to think of her. So if the group even expressed the slightest disinterest in her going into Undava and looking into his dreams, she would not do it.
Do we know, are you openly Grigori in front of us? Or do you keep cowled and...
So,
she's every bit of her was covered in clothes. She's extremely modest.
That's why.
Like a nun. Okay.
Actually, I don't know if you guys. Yeah, I think you would know. I think you would know. She's very odd looking.
Yeah,
right.
You wouldn't have said it, but we could have insinuated.
Probably could have insinuated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely have a Grigori accent, or maybe not. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're good at hiding it.
You can just tell that it's definitely not a consort accent, which is what she's trying to do.
Howdy. Yeah. How do you do, fellow consorts?
Consorts. I am here
just consorting around.
We're going to hear carve up his brain.
I just want to say that me and Z are BFFs, so there's no ill will here.
It's you look at her, and then I'm her dark shadow twin.
What's that word for that sweet blood you drink? Wait, juice.
Juice.
I'd like to mention
the old sweet blood
that the consorts are not vulnerable to the Grigori, which is why they're one of the only places that Z was able to go. Just want to put that up.
Right. But I think, isn't that the reason why they built the giant magical moving water wall? Because they were originally the weakest towards them?
I don't think it was the weakest. I think that they wanted to just protect themselves. And I what I posted in the chat in Discord is that there's something happened long ago and we don't know what it is.
Lore aside, I'm not okay with stealing this man's thoughts.
Are you saying that?
Well, in the end, it's for you to decide. It is your life and for you to use your own agency. I cannot agree with the action, though. However, you are free to make your own decisions and live by the consequences.
I mean, if you think that we can get whatever information we can out of him without me going to Undva, I'm okay with that plan.
The circumstances are not in his favor. We outnumber him, and he is at death's door.
But if he does die, we won't have the chance to know anything. And this is our chance to know why we were attacked in the desert.
It is for you to decide.
I don't know. Man, what do you think?
Well, it would be not stealing, but more borrowing, because she doesn't keep them for very long, so it goes back, kind of.
He still has those memories.
That's true.
But
think
we can just use
me
them.
and you talk. We can go over there, and you can hang out with me. And there's something going on over here on the other side that we don't know about.
If talk is uncomfortable with it, I don't want to.
Okay.
I held his life in my hands and gave it to him. He has not been willing to share his thoughts. It's for you to decide if you want to take them from him, even if only for a temporary time. I cannot agree with the action.
Right now, by the way, I don't think any of you have tried to convincing it, right?
No.
That's okay. Just making sure. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're waiting on me, okay, cool.
Yeah, he's currently unconscious as well.
Continue. No. He said he could wake up if you need him to.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Continue.
I think if everyone is debating, I think Ragin.
That's what Lightforged do.
Yeah, So he let it happen for a while because he knows that's like that's Talk's bread and butter is to argue and debate with people. And he knows him better than he knows Min and Z. And he's like pacing at the front of this. I assume we're underneath some kind of like precipice. Shield
one of those
out.
purple outcroppings
Yeah.
while everything's going around. Right?
And he's kind of pacing, knowing that something else is out there, and that there could be another ambush. But he is brash and doesn't have time for Talk's shit most of the time. So I think mid-debate, whenever this is happening, he kind of comes over, and you can just hear the shink of his cutlass being resheathed. And the next thing you hear is that sound of like flesh hitting stone, where wood, as he shakes this person who is on the ground asleep. He just kind of slams him into the ground. I assume shocking him awake. And he basically begins like loudly and terrifyingly screaming in his face. Who are you? What sent you? What banner do you fly? What are you? Why are you attacking? And just berating him with questions.
Yeah,
I'm going to attempt to intimidate this guy.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it cries back.
I'm gonna
Just screams like this high-pitched re.
Let's see if I can roll another nat 1.
Please no.
It's not bad. Yeah, so I'm basically going to try to intimidate the guy and shake him and
that's
violently scream.
Pretty good.
right. Yeah, no, that's good. It says, "My name is not important." It screams because you're speaking in what, like common or like I guess void.
It would it would probably like be it start out as common, and then the more angry he gets, it would just naturally switch to Voidborn.
Right. It doesn't know your language, so that's a little difficult.
Yeah. So as soon as like a look of confusion comes along his face,
I think but like you're getting close to it. I think it's going to point to I'm gonna Rust Bucket over here. Be like, it's going to scream in Grigori, "Get Rust Bucket!" Right? Like we can talk.
Yeah. So he doesn't understand.
All right.
He knows
Casually listening.
He knows. Yeah, he knows
he
that you're.
Picks him up and tosses him, so he like falls onto his knees in front of Talk.
Okay, so here's what I'm going. Okay, go ahead. Narrate.
No, it's like, we must always serve this for the voids, and it says like we know our masters. We know our masters. We know our masters.
Mm.
And so like your intimidation was like a shock to some kind of thing to it, like some kind of like PTSD to it, or some kind of latent thing in it.
Mm. So I'm going.
You guys can work together, by the way. It's not like I don't want to ruin your intimidation check.
Yeah, we're kind of.
If you want to lead the questioning, you can, and then you just have to have someone interpret it.
The way I kind of see it is like he's like shook him into a point where he's like, oh shit, this is happening right now.
Yeah,
we're gonna flat out.
We threw him at Talk's feet, kind of like groveling at Talk's feet.
It's recognizing also that you racially are dominant to it when that happens, and that's what I was trying to insinuate there.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to be very obvious and open. And
all right.
So it says, so it absolutely would try to acquiesce to whatever you want.
I'm going to attempt to cut to the chase, and I'm going to use my Emissary of Peace ability. So for the next 10 minutes, I get +5 to persuasion checks, and this is going to be good cop, bad cop. And in Fine Grigori, I'm going to attempt to very calmly. And if we want to liken this to like a movie, you know, this is Lord of the Rings, where Gandalf grows giant in front of Bilbo and then gets very calm. So, you know, you have the Voidborn that's going to eat this Sarkogan alive, and then old Rust Bucket himself is going to talk some...
Sorry, talk. Yeah. They just don't really care for your kind. Yeah. Sorry for the racism.
Bad dragon.
27. So...
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it's simply... We need to know about his masters. We need to know about his mission. And that's... Right. Why were we attacked? Why were we assailed? Why were they trying to take hold of us?
It's like we serve the Ruiner Hawk of the Sacred Dunes, and we do as they please.
As everyone begins to frantically type.
Just a note, I am quietly translating to Min, so she also knows what's going on. Like, kind of back. Totally. Like, translating the whole situation.
Cool.
Right.
What interest do they have in the dunes beyond their sacred nature?
They wouldn't actually know that answer, so okay. I guess they would probably just go.
What led you into servitude?
We don't know. We are servants.
Have you always been servants?
We have always served.
They have always served.
The rightful rulers of this place.
And you said they were Ruiner Hawks? Ruiner Hawk?
It's a name.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's a proper name.
Okay.
As far as you can tell.
Yes. So, where are they? Where is your home in relation to here?
Everywhere here, it says, and it smirks.
Belongs
this is our land. You are trespassers. You seek the tree man. This we know. This we know.
Not liking this guy.
It says, you rust buckets cannot lie. We know.
No, we cannot lie.
And like wipe some more blood out from its
mouth. But our Grigorian friend is translating. You're not quite in earshot to hear her, most likely.
No. Ruiner Hawk has powerful friends, the rightful rulers of this place.
Rajin?
Yes.
I think it's time for me to get a cup of coffee. And I just want you to rough this guy up. He's a little too smug.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and explain everything I've heard to the Grigori.
He smiles and says, he already knows. He already knows.
Yeah, so as soon as you like look up and say, Ragin, talk. The entrance of the precipice there. Take a look. There could be something out there. And basically, as soon as Talk turns around, you just hear, boom! The sound of flesh being struck.
Yeah, pummeled. Yeah.
And yeah, I can roll another intimidation if you'd like, or I can just beat the shit out of the guy.
I let it ride here. Naturally, of course, what we see on camera, right, is Talk going outside to the dimming sandstorms. We only hear the punches. We don't see it.
Yeah, you hear that.
We see it.
That wet sound.
Oh, you guys see it.
Yeah. So, all I can imagine is Zyron is like, oh yeah, and then he said this. Okay, and then he said, oh. I'm not translating that.
All right. I let the pummeling go on for a little bit, and then I come back. I stop raging.
Were you? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Were you actually looking out across the expanse?
Yes, cool. I wanted to.
Yeah, give me an investigation check because you're actively looking.
Talk doesn't ever see anything, but I'll give it a shot.
You never know. Hey,
6.
No, I think you're more worried about what's going on inside the cave.
Exactly. So I was just sort of stepping out. My focus is still in the room. My eyes are still in the room, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I come back in, and I'm essentially going to lay on hands and cure him a little bit and say, there is a law in this desert that when you save a life, that life is then owed to the savior. And this is all baloney. But
Yeah.
that's kind of the way talk works. At one point, maybe that was the law. Who's to say? And I'm going to say, your life is ours, and you serve us now. And we are the new masters.
All right.
That's essentially what we're going to say. And then I'm going to essentially ask if he accepts his new assignment.
Right. I don't think that's a persuadable goal, my dude, especially because of that failed investigation check. And here's why. Because it smirks and says, what I say doesn't matter anymore because he's here. As the bloody pulp of a face says before coughing on his blood. I mean, nothing's changed.
All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my fingers in both of his nostrils and lift him up to where he's eye level with me, and he's stump legs at this moment. I'm going to say, well, then I hope to see you in another light, and then I'm going to toss him into the air and decapitate him, if possible, unless everyone's here. If there's some invisible guy that stabs me.
No, you're totally good. I mean, if no one opposes, no. But
close my eyes.
Yeah, Summer, Zarina, yes. The hair on the back of your neck, or I guess you're maybe hairless in the back of your neck, but you get chills. Something like your way of the desert. Something is observing you. You know, you just know it. You don't know what. But you heard what the thing said, and there's definitely something out there.
I just turn to Min and say, we probably aren't safe here anymore.
What's wrong? What happened?
I can't. You know that feeling like somebody's watching you?
No.
Well, imagine somebody was watching you and you couldn't see them. That's what it feels like. I feel like somebody's here.
Maybe we should go, especially because he just killed that guy.
I think so. We can't stay here with this mess now.
I mean, it's kind of gross. It's smelly.
And then I turn to the guys and say, we need to go.
Yeah. At that moment, a booming voice from outside in Voidborn speaks. My name is Akkad, servant of the seventh sister, ruiner hawk of the sacred dunes. Submit to me, come with me, or perish.
Was that to us?
Yeah, you guys just hear. I mean, if you don't know Void,
yeah, no.
I speak Voidborn, and I just go, no.
I think you heard Ruiner Hawk, like you heard that's the same thing. So like you go all like kind of look at each other, right?
Yeah.
As soon as Talk leans forward and says no, Rajan puts a hand on him to stop him from doing whatever absent-minded thing he's going to do. Do I know any of those proper nouns that he just spouted off as a Dragonborn? Or as a Voidborn, rather? Okay. No. So he just happens to speak my language and is making up things.
He's making up laws.
Yeah. So as soon as Talk says no, he looks over and says, "Do you know Sacred Sister of the Ruiner Hawk? I don't know these words."
Look, if it didn't happen like 1,000 years ago, I probably don't know much about it.
Talk, I don't need your shit right now.
It was a simpler time. It was a better time. The greatest generation.
Oh, Talk, I swear to 5 dragons.
They're
Bardic
not
lore
good.
or anything,
How many
maybe.
of them are out there?
We only heard one voice.
Yeah, just one voice that seems to just skip and speak through the waning storm.
Is there maybe another way out of where we are?
No, you're kind of in a smallish little alcove. Not really.
Okay, in that case, everybody close your ears as hard as you can, please. All right, I am going to use something called Minor Discord, which is a variant off of the attack that people speak insults at you and stuff like that.
Vicious Mockery.
That one. except for in this case, I take out my violin's bow and I begin to create discordian notes that screech like nails on a chalkboard, but significantly louder. And obviously they're imbued with magical force, so they like push themselves out. And as long as they can hear it, they're affected by this. And this is a cantrip on mine. It's a ability from my
Do you have to see the target to do this?
No, they just have to hear it.
Okay, and what's this called? Discordant?
I called it Minor Discord. The original name is what did you say it was, Grant?
Vicious
Is
Mockery.
it Vicious Mockery?
Yeah.
I like it.
Because I'm pretty sure you have to see it.
A wisdom saving throw. No, because it's only sound. They don't have to physically.
Okay.
Yeah. They just need to do a wisdom save.
Okay, I'm gonna do a wisdom save. I got a natural 20 there.
Woohoo!
Oh.
Sorry.
Damn.
What happens if it's a failed save? Or excuse me, a successful save?
Nothing.
They have to
Nothing.
succeed, and that's it. Yeah.
Right.
If they don't, then other things happen.
Unfortunately, it's a
Cool.
cantrip.
I think coming in front of the alcove is the shadow of a stony-looking voidborn, with giant stony wings to it. It doesn't have the same features a normal voidborn has, so it doesn't really have a lot of draconic features. It actually has a lot more bird-like features to it. It's kind of grotesque to look at from your cultural aesthetics, Ragin. Everyone else, it just looks like a fucking crazy monster with bright red eyes. And says, "Enough with this racket.
All right.
Make your choice." And it like looks at its claws, or it says, "Or perish."
How close is he?
I would say he's about at this point about a safe 60, like medium distance away.
Okay.
Right. So close. Like if near is within 30 feet, he's close within 60 feet. You see,
Right.
yeah, you can see amongst like his flowing robes and things like that, and his wings are like buffeting the storm, that kind of like up above him, kind of like shielding him from the storm. You can see that, yeah, his whole outside of him is made of stone, or like has a layer of stone at it. Once again, Ragin, he looks hideous.
Yeah.
Like something happened to him.
I'm repulsed by him.
Yeah.
But he's 60 feet away. He's asking us to basically bend the knee, right? That's the long and short of it here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mechanical. I was going to. Never mind. No, I was just going to say mechanical question. Would we have had time to take a short rest in this house? Only because there was sufficient time to wake him up. But I think Ragin just woke the guy up anyway. So I was just curious. Okay.
I don't think so, because you guys were like, that requires unstrenuous activity, and I think like punching a dude and getting mad and getting angry is not that.
Yeah.
I didn't punch him until afterwards, but
you did rest, but I won't qualify that.
Yeah,
as a short rest.
okay. I didn't think we would have either, because it went pretty fast.
Also, sorry, Summer, you failed your survival test for that as well. So like maybe if you passed that, maybe you had extra time, but you just didn't.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Right. So it's
all right. So
all those are factors in this. Why I'm saying no right now.
All right. So my sword should still be drawn if he from decapitating the dude.
Yeah.
So I let him know that my sword has had its fill of his minions today, and perhaps we can come to an arrangement that it allows us to continue onwards to Cinderberry, and him to remain Ruiner Hawk, servant of the Sacred Sisters, Seventh Sister, ruler of the Sacred Dunes, False Dunes. I'm kind of hamming it up, and it's kind of like blah blah blah.
If the agreement is that, what does he actually say? Right. If the agreement isn't you all submitting to me, I do not want to hear it. Lightforged.
Well,
the marks of your armor mean nothing to me. The satiation of your blade is nothing.
Then you won't mind if we do, guys. We got to take him out.
I'm sorry, we don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. So as Talk kind of resolves himself to combat, Rajan kind of looks at him and kind of nods. He says, "No, Brother Talk, we must listen to what he has to say." And he pulls out his sword and he kind of upturns his arm so that his shield arm is the shield is down, and he places his sword on his arm and walks over in like a submitting kind of way. And he walks until he's like, we're about 30 feet away from the guy, as though he's going to submit and bend the knee. And he says, "We must do exactly what he says," and looks back, "and force him to submit to the will of the Voidborn." And I use fear of
Sword
the Void. So he must make a wisdom saving throw, DC 13, or be terrified of me.
Unless he's immune to being terrified.
Suck.
Please be bad. Not another.
You had one
Oh,
judge.
they can be afraid.
Yeah.
It's the wisdom
fear.
save.
Yep.
16.
God damn it. Damn it.
We're just shaking our head.
He's a really good bad guy.
Me and Ruiner Hawk make eye contact. We just shake our head and we're like, "Well, he's trying."
Do Voidborn have advantage for each other's effects? Or no?
As far as I know, no.
Right.
I don't.
Okay.
But he does shout this out, and then you see the runes across the blade that Min was asking about begin to dance and glow with purple, like sparkling light as one of his runes activates, and he slides it off his arm, and he takes a combat stance. Unfortunately, a lot of actions. So that's it.
The Seventh Sister wants you alive. As it like cracks its stony neck, preparing for a fight.
Then she must take us.
Wait.
As he's like mid-swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Min.
We
do
can
a
just
thing.
talk about this. I'm going to actually cast Calm Emotions. I still have my bow drawn, so.
Right. Okay.
Ooh,
are
I love
you-
it when people use calm emotions.
Is this touch?
No, it just says within range. So
Okay.
20-foot radius sphere.
All right. So you have to get up close to them.
Oh, I don't know where we are. Sorry, because
Right.
We're
so
like
yeah, that's fine.
behind.
You're near range. Raging is now at close range.
Okay.
If you want, we can use this sheet again, and it'll make sense.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We can-
I
we can just do that. It's
visualize
not
it in my head, but distances not so much.
Right. That's why I'm trying to use the vague zones to make it a little easier.
Okay.
That's fine. Right. So we can
It's
do it
hard
this
when
way.
spells have radius requirements. Or
Yeah, so
range.
Rajan is about
Right.
30, everyone else is about 60.
So let's see.
Right.
Okay,
Right. So it's like this, right?
Now she could cast it 60 feet away. It just creates a 20-foot sphere. So she can
centered on the
cast-
point that you choose within range. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can't cast
Okay.
it from where I am. Sorry. Okay, so the saving throw is charisma on that creature,
Okay. And you're.
and it also affects the 20-foot radius around him. So if there's
It's okay.
people-
It's basically isolated.
Oh, okay.
Because he's about 30 feet away from Raging right now. So what does this
Gotcha.
look like when you cast Calm Emotions? 'Cause this is your racial power, right?
Yes. Well, no, this is a
Oh,
low.
this is your bard. This is your bard.
Yeah,
Okay.
my bard. But in this case,
Bard.
because everything that we do is fueled from our own emotions and empathy,
Yeah.
when Min says this and she brings her her bow out, what actually happens is the violin that she has, which is also made of that same kind of light prism that you saw from the whip, turns into this very beautiful glow of gold and rose, and it looks like it's pulsating out, and as it's moving towards her target, there's this beautiful melody that's almost as if you're falling asleep, and it kind of just washes over you and brings your calmness down, your aggression and hostility
It bathes
down.
them.
Bathes them in
Yeah.
happiness and light, and brings the elevated hostilities to a halt.
Cool. And this is charisma.
Charisma.
Yeah, that's a good one to use on this hideous creature. I got a big old fat 8. I don't think that's gonna do it, right?
Nope.
Cool.
Yay!
Right.
There goes that one spell slot.
Right.
Damn it.
It puts its hands, crossed like this, and says, "No." And it kind of just like is pausing, waiting for a conversation to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want it to.
How long has it been since I decapitated Twiddly Doodad, the Sarkogan?
The blood. Not that long. 5 minutes ago.
Okay, so I still actually have my +5 to persuasion for another 5 minutes at least. I'm going to attempt to come to a peaceful resolution, and we'll tell him our opinion of things. He'll tell us his opinion of things, and we'll try to come to an agreement, like civilized people.
All right, so before we go to dice, though, I need to know what your goal is here. What's your intention? Because this may not be a roll or be a DC to go against, right? Based on what you're trying to convince this person of doing.
First, I'm trying to get as much information out of him as possible about the seventh sister.
Okay, I mean,
because I don't know anything about her. Maybe we want to be allied with her.
That doesn't require a roll.
Okay,
we can just do that.
Okay.
But is that your only goal here? Is just to
talk that's the first goal.
Or let's just start there then. Okay,
that's the starting point. I have to know who's. Yes.
Yeah. So let's have the conversation then. Okay, cool.
All right.
So
I need to know about the seventh sister in order to weigh my options.
Right.
So, who is she? Where does she come from? And why would I swear allegiance to her?
A good servant doesn't ask these types of questions of their betters. Referring to him talking to her, so saying he doesn't know.
Okay.
The seventh sister found me.
So is she a seeker or one who simply finds?
She has a habit of finding, and he looks at himself, broken things.
And
he does it like that lip snarl, like nose crinkle, like anger at himself, right? When he says that. That's obvious without a roll.
Yeah. In what way are you broken?
It's not me that I'm worried about, is all he says.
Is there a way we resolve this without combat?
He's obviously hiding things. There's plenty more to know. But anyways, to your last question, or latest question, is there any way to resolve this without conflict?
Without us submitting, because I don't think we can. We have a greater calling than serving the seventh sister.
Being awesome.
And says,
that's why I wear these sunglasses.
I admire your tenacity to resolve this peacefully. I believe the seventh sister would find that admirable. And he looks at you, it's like, I will need an excuse. You have killed my servants. That does not look good.
But we let one go. We let one go. On
to
purpose.
Me, yeah. Yeah, I guess you say that, right? You let that one go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, it totally goes and says, yes. And now that one is getting the others, assembling a small army for her. You see, when the seventh sister wants something, she gets something. I can't promise to leave you alone forever, but if you have something to barter.
I have a rock.
All right, Charlie Brown. I have a rock.
You fight.
It's a really nice rock.
You fight well, it says. I have a need for fighters. I have openings. It says.
Wait. Look. What I suggest is you return to the seventh sister and you find us again with your army. If we can fight again on another day, currently the fight is not fair. You're outnumbered. You don't feel like fighting. And we've already had our fill. And you need an excuse. Simply say that we evaded you.
Or that you couldn't solve a riddle that I'm about to ask you.
Yes. You were riddled.
I would like.
I tried to keep a straight face. I'm sorry.
She's quite good with the riddles.
If you can't figure out my riddle, then that's the excuse that you couldn't figure out the riddle. And then if you don't figure it out, then then the excuse is that you couldn't find us.
But what if he does figure it out?
All right. This will work if and only if Mike agrees that honorable riddling is part of Voidborn culture. And it's honor bound to agree to it.
Man. Oh.
Because that's what he would appeal to, right?
That's true. The ideal
Riddling.
wrath, though, I don't think...
But does that
riddle
mean
will
that I
wrath
can do
people.
that back to you, though?
You most certainly
Right.
can ask riddles.
I
back
love
to him
I
all
love
day.
that idea. I love that idea. But you know, if you do, anything you can do, I can do. If that's
Yeah.
true.
Remember we talked about like that haggle craft skill, like
That's true.
the bargaining skill
Like
is
crafting
like
of a
prize.
riddle is great. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
great that this is part of their
Yeah.
culture. It's
If
how you get
that's-
the best
if that's-
steal.
If that's the crafting,
So-
if that counts as crafting and haggling, I will. Yeah, I can acquiesce to that. Riddlecraft is
That's
part
good.
of the Voidborn.
Yeah. She loves riddles. In a very okay, he's willing to do that, but no, his nostrils flare open rather than like a crinkled and just says in a very firm voice, she loves riddles.
And you would see, as soon as you say, as long as you can answer my riddle, you would just see Ragen's shoulders slump, knowing that now he has to answer your riddle.
Yep.
Talk folds his arms and goes, "This ought to be great." And
Okay,
he's just
okay. Are
eyes
you ready?
burning at Raging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, is this
really
going to
good
be an
one.
actual riddle, or is this going to be like a
Yeah.
test of like
No,
intelligence?
this is an
versus-
actual riddle that if you don't
Okay,
answer,
cool.
he fails.
I'm all about it. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm not going to make it so difficult, though. Okay, ready?
All right.
Okay. At night they come without being fetched by day. They are lost without being stolen and cannot be seen half blind by the sun.
All right.
No cheating, everybody.
Player to player, I know the answer to this
I know.
riddle.
I know you
But
would.
I don't know if this character would per se. So can we make this into a mechanical
Yeah,
test
yeah.
just so it's fair?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. You
Chat
can either use
riddles,
you guys to say
personality,
riddles at
intelligence,
each
whatever
other.
whatever your best thing is, right? You can use that, and I'll roll mine.
Performance.
Yeah, it's a performance. Yeah, let's do that. I'll allow that. You want to roll performance here? Okay. That's not going to be enough.
I thought you have to answer the riddle.
Right.
Talk blurts out loud. Stars.
Yeah, I know.
And look, and everyone groans. And everyone groans.
Yes.
The answer is
I
stars.
didn't
The answer.
say that I was good at
The answer is
riddles.
stars. Definitely
Yeah.
stars. Final answer. It's like,
That's my.
and everyone's
That's
like, damn it, Doug.
I
Yeah.
am not the bard that makes like beautiful lyrics. I make music, not
Yeah.
words.
Music and riddles.
not at all a riddler at all.
Dude, it's talk. Ha! Stars.
I was just trying to like.
He's like that guy that spoils movies for people. Oh, he's his own brother.
At the beginning,
They're all
of the movie,
clones.
No, he's totally dead the whole time. Damn it, Talk.
Yeah.
I could have gone the science route if I really wanted to, but no.
We have no choice but to be his slaves.
I don't think.
No.
No, we are doing a riddle battle here.
Oh, he's going to ask you a riddle.
It's a
He
riddle.
has to
Oh, I'm going to
us
ask you a riddle now.
I guess that's what I thought. That's what you said we were going to do.
Ah.
Oh, this is going to be a whole gambling game. He's going to have to win each and every one of us through riddle battles. And if he wins the whole party, that's the game. We serve the seventh sister.
Game over. It lasted one episode, guys.
Damn it!
Damn it.
Then
Okay.
I got everybody enslaved because of fucking
It
riddles.
is a riddle haggle.
Work the next 30 years in the mines.
I mean, I don't know any riddles. That's the problem. That's not
Do
fair.
you
I
want to
didn't
just
prepare
roll
riddles.
a performance check?
Yeah, I'll roll a performance check. Oh no, well I'll roll its best stat.
Get
just
a
so
riddle
you roll
from
your
chat.
best stat.
What's in my pocket?
Yeah, chat, give me a good riddle.
No answers. No spoilers.
Chat will not give you a single riddle. I guarantee you. We'll just give you puns. We'll give you puns and sass.
The riddle is Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Yeah. The riddle
That
is
is
what's
the
in my
riddle.
pocket.
Name that movie. That's not a riddle. That's trivia.
How do I not know
Terrible
riddles?
at riddles.
How do you not know
Riddles
riddles?
are actually like making real good riddles are actually really hard to do.
I don't carry around clutch riddles.
You don't carry around clutch riddles?
Yeah, dude, I just
Why?
Google searched the crap out of star riddles, and that was literally the best one.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good one. Yeah, I mean L's mentioning of a list of Anglo-Saxon riddles. Yeah, I would love them. Because I actually want to do this, but otherwise I have to Google them because I'm really sorry I'm not.
Can Talk ask a riddle?
Yeah, and you want to say it's from Makot? You can do that.
Yes. So Talk. Yeah. The gargoyle asks. He goes. He looks down at the melody of the consort, and he goes, "A void craft crashed, and every single person died. Who survived?"
What do you define as a person exactly?
It's a good question. What does the gargoyle?
Unblinking, stony, void-born eyes, towering wings. You can feel his nostril breath.
Yeah, broad chest, wings completely out as it says this. Its glowing red eyes stares at you, almost like it's looking at your soul. And let me make its test. It doesn't have the skill, obviously. Well, never mind.
So,
It's not great. That's not great at all.
is she supposed to make her check now?
Yeah, or unless you know the answer to the riddle, right?
I don't know what that means.
Wait, say
Talk?
the riddle
Everybody's
again.
dead. Nobody survived.
Say the riddle again.
There was a void craft crash, and every single person died. Who survived?
The Voidborn.
Everyone else?
The married couples. Talk
What?
says out loud.
What?
Every single person died. They were single. That's
Oh.
not married.
Oh, Trixie Rabbit's Void.
Yeah, and then and Talk's kind of like, I'm the best at riddles today, and he sort of turns. He goes, we could settle this another way.
So the Voidborn are all in on monogamy.
He goes,
Your riddle is false because the only way you get married is if your spouse is dead. So boom.
Those are not the rules of riddles.
Those are-
You do not respect Voidborn culture.
Also,
Well,
The
blah,
consort
blah,
doesn't get-
blah, blah.
Yeah.
oh no.
No, I love the fact that their cultural humor riddles does not
Yeah.
work as well here. It doesn't carry, and so you're just both mad at each other. But then Grant, you said something, right?
yeah, and he says, since we haven't been able to match each other with wits, perhaps we attempt to best each other with strength. And he wants to do an old-timey wrestling match.
Oh, you can't say no to that.
No, he can't.
Raijin, you can do this one.
Let's all come up with ideas of things that we can do instead of fight.
Just cheer for Raijin.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I remember these things.
I don't think he I don't think he knows how to
Okay.
respond to a cheerleader. But yeah, if we're did you propose we wrestle?
Tag team, pick your partner, and he like thumbs over at like the two. He's got to pick a tag team partner. This is ceremonial.
He's got to pick one too out of us.
It would only be fair.
Oh my god.
And I think it looks at you and says, "Don't your kind prefer debate?
Snap.
The
Well-
intellects."
Yes, but we also prefer variety. We've had a battle of wits. We've talked it out, you and I, to and fro, as have the others. At the end of the day, we all turn to dust.
Or we are as dust in the wind. I couldn't resist.
We could fight a duel, or we could wrestle. If you fight a duel, you duel me. If you wrestle, you're wrestling him. You're not in their weight class.
I feel like you're not in a position enough to negotiate this anymore.
All right.
I feel like the honorable riddle thing was. I like what you're doing, but like this thing could probably take you all on, and so it's really not like that desperate to get out of this fight. It was entertaining, the idea, but
all right. Well, no, we've got to give you a reason to go back, and the only reason for you to go back broken is if we beat you honorably in actual combat. And you've been more than fair by engaging in our honorable riddling contest. So, no tricks.
Fine. Oh, then know what it says? I got it. So this is what it says now. Akkad goes, show me the head of the slain Sarkagon. The one that was with you.
All right. And it comes rolling to me. No, I back up, pick it up, and I hold it up to him. I walk it over.
Good. Yeah, no, that's good. And that's enough. That's good. And then it like flexes and stretches us. I need to make sure there's no witnesses. And it gets ready.
Welcome to the gun show.
Yeah, it's getting ready to do it.
What's happening right now?
Okay. It's gonna I guess we're gonna wrestle here, talk, right?
Yep. But he's willing to wrestle us, or is he gonna combat us to the we're willing to send him back broken. He doesn't have to die if we defeat him. If he defeats us, he can do with us as he chooses.
I thought you were going to test him in an honorable wrestling match.
I really wanted to.
Right.
So he's down with that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I actually know what he is. It's more fun. He's down with that.
All right. I think this guy's more of a sportsman than he lets on.
Yeah, I mean he's Voidborn. He can't help it.
So my athletics check was 18.
Congratulations.
Is there a bard that can give me bardic inspiration on this?
On that one.
No.
Can I cheat?
Think I think that would be considered cheating in an honorable contest.
That's true.
Might versus might.
Yeah, but did you see what my flaw is on my character sheet? Okay, I did best him. Remember, my character does lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah.
As a paladin.
That's absolutely. It's a great.
All right, so essentially I'm going to get him down and I'm going to pin him.
Yeah, no, I think you win. Let's do the best of 3 points. Right?
Okay.
It's a wrestling match, and so it's a series of rounds, and you win the first round.
Yeah,
right? You get
we're
him
doing
down,
rounds,
and he resets.
And then we both get up and we reset. I love this.
You were strong for a bucket of bolts. I'll give you that.
And you're quite spelter since you first appeared.
You are fast and slippery.
20.
11. You win again. 5.
It's going easy on me. You reset.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, you win.
You win.
Oh.
You win. That was you had match point. You win. Fine. And it stops and says and it gets up and says, I will return with my army to Cinderberry.
And
if you're not there, that place is raised and we'll continue to find you.
When we cross swords, we will cross swords as friends into the death and meet each other again on the other side. And I kind of offer my hand to him, almost in a sign of friendship.
Right.
This is very Three Musketeers-ish.
Yeah, no, it takes your hand. It's stony clawed hand, and it's just like pure rock is what you're holding.
I'm pure metal, so And I give him a knowing nod and let him know if he likes, he can retrieve the body of his dead, or he can leave them. And
he doesn't acknowledge the answer. He doesn't care.
They have no burial rights?
No.
Oh. All right. You make me sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Just say
slaves, remember?
Yeah. They died in combat. That's all they wanted. Or they died in service, right? That's good enough. That's good enough for the wretches that they are. And
I know what awaits them.
It's fine. All right. Cool. Yeah, so it's honorable. So that's awesome. So it flies off and goes to go meet with its army, and in a couple of days it's going to attack Cinderberry and it's going to look for you. So that's fine. All right, awesome. So maybe smash cut to you guys finally arriving at Cinderberry.
Way later than we were supposed to.
Yeah, way later than you were supposed to.
We got a little off track.
You arrive at a
I've never had a mini boss defeated by wrestling or riddles before in any campaign ever in the history of me playing D&D. So that was new.
You're welcome.
that was episode 1. New experiences. I've never seen that happen before.
We once
years.
scripted a wrestling match to perform in front of a dwarven king because one of the player characters was a famous wrestler in a past life. He was like, "Can I see you perform?"
That's awesome.
All right. You arrive at a small outpost decorated with just a couple houses, red leaf trees that appear out of place for the rest of this wasteland. Just kind of jut about. Bright, like red maple leaves, I guess is probably the best way to think about it, right? Like as bright as Canada's flag, right? In the middle of this place is a babbling brook of pristine water, kind of just swirling, circling around. And in the middle of this babbling babbling brook is an enormous, like gargantuan-sized, bark-skinned mammoth. And let me show you. This is the closest thing I have. Only imagine this thing with more red leaves on it.
Ooh.
And it seems to be sitting. It seems to be like half submerged in the water. And you can see it looks very tired because you're not alone when you get to Cinderberry. This place is currently occupied by 2 parties of Lightforged. One party clad in a red sash, and the other in a dark blue, who are currently deliberating about the merits and virtues the merits and values of various virtues. Now, after spending maybe 30 seconds hearing them talk about these high-minded ideals and these appeals to these noble ideas, now you're not sure if this mammoth is washing itself or actually trying to drown itself to get away from this horrible dialogue.
I roll my pupilless eyes.
Raging's sure. It's trying to drown itself.
It sees you. The mammoth sees you and trumpets as it shakes off the water. Both of the red sashes and blue sashes, Lightforged, stop deliberating as Cinderberry himself comes out of the water and shakes itself off and says, "Welcome, guests. So happy to have you."
Duly noted.
Cinderberry?
Please. Yeah, this is Cinderberry.
I'm asking Esmond because she has no idea who they're looking for. What is he?
I believe he's trying to kill himself currently.
Oh no, why?
I would assume any conglomeration of Lightforged would make anyone want to kill themselves.
Well, that sounds very sad.
Yes.
I did once.
Yes, I can only imagine living among your own kind. It's a miracle you survived this long.
Good. Yeah. For those, maybe it does a more cordial introduction, right? For those who don't know who I am, this is welcome to my grove. My name is Cinderberry. Or at least in your tongue. Player to player, this thing is made out of the trees that are in that roaming forest.
Oh,
back over.
Cool.
Cut back over. I feel like you won't. There's nothing I can describe to never sell that yet. Yeah. But yeah, it's a tie back in.
Yeah,
nice.
I dig that.
Right. Perhaps you could help these guests with their predicaments. And then it mutters under itself, "Gods knows I have." They seem to be at an impasse. Unless you need anything, rest, water.
We do. We need rest, but there's an army coming here from the Seventh Sister that intends to raise this territory. And these Lightforged may need to forget their current feeble-minded attempts to discuss the realities of this plane and all existence, and assist you in that endeavor.
I think the red-sashed leader steps forward and interrupts you. It rebuts you when you say that. Excuse me. I don't know who you are.
Oh, they're all gonna talk.
But we're not dealing with trivialities here. We're dealing with the incoming snow thaws washing away our fields of remembrance. And everyone says, yeah.
And I look at him and I go, you are merely built from hand-me-down parts from forgotten forge who were nameless and did nothing. They had no honor and no valor. They were little more than slaves to machine programming. And then like I'm getting into this. I'm really huffing and puffing because you know.
And it screams back at you like it's just a shouting match. You're not listening to each other.
No, not at all.
Your ad hominems have no effect. Maybe they work on your comrades that you clearly have bewitched to join you over here. But we were talking about it, and you're just yelling at each other, and it's not going anywhere.
Not at all.
I think this is elegant combat for them. Perhaps we should go this way. And he starts kind of...
I was going to say, I'm kind of hungry. Maybe they'll be here a little while.
Cinderberry roars again and stomps down his feet, like basically commanding attention, like a judge's gavel.
All right.
It says,
this court is a mockery.
Yeah.
Just a side note, Talk really doesn't like most other Lightforged, especially those that wear sashes.
They're just too much.
Yeah.
I have had it, and it like uses its trunk. I have had it up to here with your nonsense.
God damn it.
I love this guy. Oh man.
Oh.
I try to be hospitable. I try, and no one says thank you, Cinderberry. No one says anything. You. So I'm sorry.
Cinderberry.
It has been and it just says, and it apologizes by just looking down and says, "It's been a long day."
May I approach the bench, Your Honor?
No, talk.
To Cinderberry.
No, talk. Continue arguing quietly.
No, it's the opposite. Tell them the first one to speak loses, and patience is the virtue they must exercise, and the winner will be decided through patience.
That's a very strange
we
game.
haven't stopped speaking in riddles the entire time talking.
I feel like both unanimously, the brothers, the brother of the blue ribbon and the brothers of the red sash, or the sister of the red sash, both don't.
No, they don't agree.
Excuse me. Like at the same time, yeah, they absolutely do not agree.
Someone mentioned food. I think. Yes.
We need rest and food.
It'd be nice to sit down.
And
yes. This way?
Food.
Is it far away from them?
It looks at you and it just lifts one leg and like kicks one of the trees and a bunch of berries fall down.
Cool.
And it shakes its snout and says, "Not far enough." We never talk. So once again, I feel like the theme of our game here is we didn't discuss this, but or that's the mantra of our game. Is there a common language that we all speak? Because that's what it's speaking right now. It's not speaking Lightforged.
Yes.
So I don't want you to feel like
common.
it's lost, right?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay, cool.
Common.
Yeah, there's a common trade language. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what they're speaking in.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to have trade, there would have to be a common language.
Look,
I'm curious what the disputation between the Lightforged is.
Right.
Can they explain this to me?
They both once again the red sash one and the blue sash one both start to speak again, and they're like, no. And then Cinderberry steps in and says, "This is Sister Larissa of the Face of the Radiant Gathering and Sister Crescent, Hands of the Radiant Gathering," and they bow respectfully. Their entourage bows respectfully, and this is, and pointing to the blue one, sorry, and he's like, Brother Slovak of the towers of the reigning embarkation, and bows reverently. Entourage bows reverently. The source of the matter, at least if I remember, hours ago, the hands of the Radiant Gathering need materials from the towers of the reigning embarkation in order to prevent the upcoming snow thaws from washing away their grave sites.
So why don't they just give some to them?
And I think Brother Slovak speaks up and says, the towers of the reigning embarkation have been nothing but generous to the hands of the Radiant Gathering. But the hands refuse to be generous with the towers. Our community has saved our wood and stone for repairs to our own temples, knowing that such events, tragic as they may be, may come. If we were to give all of the stone and wood required, that would require stripping our own temples bare in addition to our savings. And that is something we cannot abide, especially to someone who's reckless with such supplies. Very like a lot of slight eyes, and they both look at each other and I think unanimously with Cinderberry and say, no, we've been down this road several times.
Okay, so what if you move the fields somewhere else? Avoid the problem altogether.
That would bring dishonor and break our rights and traditions.
But then you can have rights and traditions on a different field.
This we cannot do, and I think the entourage says that this we cannot do in unison.
Men, don't. Just don't. Let him do it. We'll be here all day.
But we want to help.
No.
Look, Cinderberry's exhausted. He needs some rest. And they need to solve their problem.
You're attempting.
Cinderberry is literally like, I imagine right now. Sorry, Ragin, you're probably eating some of those berries and is looking at you. He's like, "Did you bring any strong? Did you bring any strong spirits, please?"
I'm willing to interject. You're looking to protect your grave sites.
Yes.
Your dead most likely aren't there anymore. Look at me. Do you know who I am, and do they know who I am?
Must we walk you through the fourth quartets of symbols and their significances as written by Taslow?
No, that's quite all right. It's not needed. But the dead rise again, and you should remember the new life that they embrace as opposed to the old one.
I've never heard one single race talk so much.
If this, this is absolutely, this is literally mind-boggling stupid to someone like you, right?
This is just Ragin is leaning on the tree that was kicked, just eating the giant berries. He's just watching the whole thing as everyone struggles to help them.
Yeah. And it says, well, if you're not willing to engage with Taslow's books of symbology, then you must suffice with this will never do. And the entourage says, this will never do.
Well.
We've met on neutral territory to discuss these terms, and you've only found the beginning. It is customary for these terms to continue for, they both look at each other, 3.5 days of nonstop delegation or deliberation. They're warforged. They don't have to sleep. They're literally going to do this all night, all day.
Listen, everyone that glows.
Yo, you think like a controversial like Twitter post or whatever? This is the most annoying shit that you cannot. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Listen,
quote replies all night.
Yeah.
All night.
Everyone that glows, shut up. You debate quietly over there. I'm gonna talk to him. Keep debating. We'll get back to you. Just leave them alone. Please, just leave them alone.
Yeah. Do you guys want to help them or not? Like, we can do that.
He's trying to get them to.
Well, I'd like to. Well, I'd like to help them, but it's one of these things where I think most Lightforged are beyond help. They're recycled.
Right.
They don't even know who they are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I would be willing to say that if nothing happens, if you guys do not intercede and like try to convince somebody, the Hands of the Radiant Gathering, the ones who need the wood and stone, will go home empty-handed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not very sympathetic to them simply because I was dead once myself, and reincarnation is commonplace in this world. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Although Warforged or Lightforged are, this may have significance.
Meritously is that, like the merits of their arguments are pretty good, though. I mean, we just haven't like heard them. And obviously,
my character's conflicted.
Look, what I'm saying is
that
if you listen to both sides, you would go like, "Oh, that's a really good point. Oh shit, that's a good point too. Oh wow, I mean, I totally see it your way. That's actually pretty good." Now, what do you have to say for yourself, Brother Slovak?
Oh, here's how we
that's
handle
a really
it.
good point. Oh fuck, that's a good one too. Oh damn.
No, here's how we're gonna handle it.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to make a decision here.
We must handle it by vote by all present. That's the only way to handle this. We've heard the arguments. We've heard both sides. There are a number of us here. And my vote is you give them the supplies. What do you say, party?
That is not our way. That is not our way. This will never do. This will never do. The people say the senatorious debate is the only way. The only way, they say in unison. But obviously, if you wanted to make a persuasion and force these things, like with a test,
I would like to. Right. And I'm going to be the emissary of peace and get my +9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm like walking around, just like looking at Cinderberry, like really.
What is this thing? Yeah.
Digging
24.
Really feeling it, not feeling this conversation. Doesn't really see the point because it's just bodies.
Yeah.
Like just. So,
well, you don't understand. You don't understand. It's not just bodies. There are gods and beings. There are gods and there are beings much greater than this plane that watch this plane and the way we care for this plane. It's not about the Lightforged themselves. It's about what they represent. We have
Zarina don't care.
Right. I know. I know Zarina would never care about what they think is true. But like, yeah, these are just groups of orders with different viewpoints. And I mean, in the easiest way of putting it, like I could get into this more with notes and stuff like that, but the Hands of the Radiant Gathering are more community based and more about like being proactive and being helpful. So they don't have a lot of things on hand for supplies, while the Towers of the Reigning Embarkation are more individualistic, but also more prudent and more I don't want to say selfish, but stringent, stingy with their goods. And they're just different approaches to the ideas of energy and how it should be shared and distributed.
I have been on the other side, and I know that there are many things that pay attention to the Lightforged, and me in particular, how we handle this. And so, as a peaceful emissary, I rolled a 24 in persuading the supplies.
Right. So like you win, right? Like that's a great roll. That's enough to convince them. But what I want to know is like, once again, like what does that look like? What do you do to really win over both sides here and agree that a vote is the only way?
What I do is, if you can imagine like a painting of Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, it's difficult to prove, and this is one of these things. If it could clearly be proved and you could give them clear 100% evidence, there would be no reason for debate, right? This is very subjective.
Right.
What I do is we drop all the inventories that our individualistic Lightforged brethren and sisters have. In fact, it's interesting. We don't really have genders, but genders are given to us as titles by those close to us. That's why I'm Brother Talk. Rajan's brother called me brother, so I took the title. We go through, and then we put together a plan, and we also put together a plan of repayment, and including interest, and we turn it into a business deal with a contract. So this can be done contractually, and it can be done with interest. And we have stores to give to our communal brethren who are very free and generous with their materials. And they also should have adequate supplies to repay the interest, so long as they put their debts first before they simply give away charitably next season. So that's the way I try to handle it. And I gather them, I sit them all down, and I kind of sit on the high. Yeah.
to resolve that, like, that's great, but like to resolve everything you said is literally going to take like at least a day, right? Like a better part of a day of writing all that stuff out, right?
Absolutely.
And all the sub negotiations that go along with all that crap that Lightforged just love to get into.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Excitedly.
Right. You just wrote a government contract, so just imagine the levels of contingencies that need to be put in place, right?
And thus
so,
was written the litany of talk.
Yeah.
So let it be written, so let it be done.
Yeah. No, they're willing to split the difference, so to speak, and as you mediate this discussion, and get them to have a repayment plan in addition to giving them supplies.
Yeah. And he can.
But that, yeah. But while that's going on, yeah.
I imagine that Raijin can hear this conversation going in the favor of Talk, and knowing Talk's lack of care for his own people and his flair for the neutrality, he just sighs and dismounts his pack and begins to unfurl his bedroll. And
you know the worst part, Raijin? The worst part, Raijin? I made the terms unfavorable.
Yeah, to everyone.
To both sides.
Everyone, yeah.
Well, that's what a compromise is.
Yeah.
Yes, right? But it could have been less painful.
So I think Minya and Zarina are ping ponging back and forth while the debate's happening as Raijin lets out his bedroll on the driest spot of land, knowing we're going to be here for 2 more days till this is done. And he's unpacking his things and pulling out his ink set as he sighs and looks back. Oh, this is at least a day. God, I hate him. And he's pulling out things on top of things.
Right. So
you could at least go around and pick all the Lightforge's pockets while they're busy in debate. Just sell their items back to them.
Because they're all just locked in debate.
So I think there's probably, while you're doing this, there's probably time to for Cinderberry to speak to the three of you, right? As obviously Talk is busy mediating.
Talk is talking.
Cinderberry's very curious about you, Zarina, right? And says, you smell different.
That's rude.
Doesn't like that.
Yeah.
She just kind of takes it. She's so interested in Cinderberry, but she doesn't want to be found out, really.
Sorry, I think you are interesting. My comment isn't always so great. And gesturing over to the debating and mediating Lightforged, and says, what I meant to say is, you must have good stories. And then before you get a chance to reply, he looks also over to Min, right? And looks over and is like, I have met your kind before, and I know for a fact you have stories.
I have lots of stories. If you ever want to hear any, you just let me know.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, trying to avoid having this conversation because obviously she lost all of her stories.
Yeah, do you want to, I know, do you want to politely try to get out of it, or what are you going to make one up, or what are you going to do when Cinderberry is like, now I won't take no for an answer.
I think,
right?
So I think
AKA tell a story or make a roll to lie to get out of it.
Elephant down.
Well, I think
I have to walk my dog.
No, I think what Zarina would try and do is try and prompt Min, because she knows that she can get
just throw it over
and just be like, well, what didn't you have that story about? And gives her just a little snippet, because Min's going 24/7, always has a story about something, and just knows that if she can get Min talking, that she might be in the clear to kind of take a back seat and just listen.
Right. So I think that's probably I think that might be deception. I think you're trying to get your slide out of this ghost out of this conversation, right? And it might call you out on that, because he was really interested in what you have to say.
Okay.
So I think that's a role. I think there's a role required here to see if you can do that.
Do you think deception?
I think so. I mean, you can argue for a different skill if you think it's better. Performance, maybe. I don't know. Or persuasion, maybe. What do you think? Right.
Well, so I feel like I'm not actively lying to them. I'm not
right.
I'm trying to
just navigate,
distract.
Which is why I thought it was deceiving. Yeah.
I can roll
Deflecting.
deception.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
what,
that's fair.
and that's just what my gut says, and my gut's not right all the time. So like, if you have a better skill, if you think it's like, no, I actually think it's this thing, I'm all ears, right?
So I will say my deception is -1 and my persuasion's a 1.
Right.
So what would you think about me
What outcome are you
that
trying?
Min has a better story than I do?
I mean,
like
you
kind
could
of a
spin
group
it- you could spin it
persuasion.
that you're trying to persuade Min to tell her story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it that way. You're persuading her to irresistibly step in. Like
Yeah.
she can't keep it in.
She's got
Perfect.
a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah. No, totally.
It's still terrible.
That's
Wow. Are you going to use your
No.
inspiration, or do you want? Can I share my
Look.
inspiration with her?
you have inspiration.
You just say, Min,
Yeah.
tell him that one story. You know the one story.
You know that one story, and Min's
Yeah.
like,
There's so many stories. I don't know where I should start.
One, the one with the thing and the stuff and and she's like, I don't know what you're talking
The one
about.
guy did that one thing. You know.
No.
So many stories.
No, and Canterbury steps in again. So, like, now I have a nose for these things. I know you both have some great stories, but come on, I want to hear yours first. If you wanted to use inspiration to like reroll or something like that, that might be fair. But otherwise, you are backed into a corner here.
Oh man, yeah, because it's going to be pretty obvious right away that I'm trying to decide.
I know. Yeah.
I think I'm just trying to decide if it's more in her. Can I roll some kind of like maybe insight or to get a vibe on Cinderberry, like how I feel like they'd be like if I did reveal the truth about myself, kind of.
Oh, that's a
reaction
really
I would
cool
get.
idea. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, totally. Of course you could.
Because I would.
What's your passive insight?
How do I know that?
10 plus your mod.
10 plus the modifier of insight.
13.
I was going to say the number to beat is 13. So you would know without rolling that they could be open to it.
Okay. So she just kind of looks up at Cinderberry and says, if the truth be told, I don't have very good stories anymore. And I think she like unconsciously just touches her at her neck because it's just this constant reminder.
I think Cinderberry just nods and says, I understand. See, my people carry seeds with them all the time. Almost everyone did. And, well, I understand what it's like to lose your seeds. That's all what they say, right? That's all they say to you. It's sort of like, that's the best way of reaching out to you and being like, I can somewhat sympathize, understand. Well,
Right.
Anyways. And looks over to you. Well, what was your name again? And looks over to Min, right?
You're muted. No.
Muted.
I try not to make lots of noise for reals, though. Minea, Etri, and obviously you already know the
Minea.
consort. So, over here is no. No.
No.
And,
Looks like Yeah.
and he's like,
Eating the
the
berries.
coda is climbing up on Cinderberry right now, and
Oh.
like all up in his branches and
it's like
going all the way around. Yep.
yeah, and it's one
No.
step ahead of it the whole time. Yeah.
Sorry. He's very curious.
Oh, that's all right. Back when I was in the forest, creatures crawled all over me all the time.
Gross.
That's fair. You know, because.
Yeah, and it looks at it. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty big. I get it.
Phrasing.
Seeds and yeah, all right.
You did it to yourself, Eric.
What I know, it just looks at you, and it probably like that awkward moment, that awkward note, wink, hangs for a second and says, "What? I don't get it." Huh.
So, Cinderberry, why are you out here?
Well, we have a couple days, don't we?
It seems that way.
At least two.
Well, it all started back when I was a sapling. You see, I used to belong to a larger forest. I was one of those caretakers of this forest, you see, just like my grandfather. And he starts droning on, and it's not getting anywhere close to where you want to go. He's clearly starting the story way, way back. You're reading The Lord of the Rings, and he opened page 1 of the Silmarillion. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? And he just starts talking. He just keeps talking about his great grandfather, how all the crazy things that happened to him, how they wanted to remove the forest north, and then his great grandfather was the longest serving arbiter of the trees, and then it just keeps going.
Now, Cinderberry, at what point did the seventh sister usurp the power of the sacred dunes? When did that happen?
He looks at you and says, "Hold on, I'll get there." And hold on. So, anyways. Right, and that leads to me, Cinderberry. 1040th of the line of red trees, or red leaves, and, well, yeah. And it just kind of looks up and says, it's just kind of hard for me to say. So give me a minute.
I think he knows what he's gonna say.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Imagine you know what he's gonna say. I know what he's gonna say.
the forest always has never cared where it's went. It's not important to the arbiters. It's not important to the herd. It's not important to anybody. But, you see, I did something that I regret. And maybe that made me different than my kin. And so, after the herd was ready to move, I hung back. I took care of what was left, and now I'm here.
Zarina goes up to Cinderberry and puts a hand on his trunk.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have apathy like the rest of its group, and so it felt left out and left after it destroyed something.
Oh, God.
It's hard to be different.
Now he's like, yeah, I mean, it's we're having a moment. This is a moment right now. Oh,
Normally,
that's sweet. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to call that out, was I?
No.
Oh, all right. And it just goes back to.
And then the seventh sister usurped the power of the sacred dunes.
Yeah, it looks over and says, "Yeah, oh, that cantankerous old hag."
Oh, there we go. Thank God. What about her? Yes. I'm sorry that took so long.
She's a newcomer to these parts. And gestures up to the comet in the sky and says, "This comet brings out a lot of newcomers, I reckon." I guess this guy's a slight southern drawl. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with these accents. That's fine. Look, no, you're going to get used to it. This is the first session. You're just going to have to get used to it all. You know?
I'm used to it.
Okay.
Love it.
It's just going to go. I'm just going to go all over the place with this stuff.
Go for it.
All right. Yeah. I've heard it's a redeemer of sorts, is what I've heard. Not sure it's the ones that need redeeming, though. Ones that the previous residents of this place may have not looked too kindly on, so to speak. That's all I really know. Don't get a lot of travelers around these parts, especially before the winter thaws.
All I know is that redeemers don't keep slaves.
Talking about the Sarkagons, I reckon. You met them.
Unfortunately.
It's all right. They take some getting used to. They're good people. They're actually good. Looks at you and says, "Believe it or not, but they come off strong, and they take the. They have a. Actually, what he says is, they kind of have a curse with them that kind of adapt the worst traits of the ones they were around. I'm sure there was an old tree named, and then he starts talking back to a story about a tree that was like that back in the forest. It says, knucklehead."
We were actually attacked on our way here. And
By the seventh sister, and you're alive? He looks at you like super incredulously. She's not one to letting things go. She plays for keeps. He says cryptically.
What would she want with us?
And says, "You're strangers in our lands. Probably stories like me. Maybe she just wants to keep you as an ornament. Who's to say? Like I said, never met her. Only hear the stories of the passerbys, and those are few and far between."
You said she was a reminder of the people that came before. The Ruiner Hawk. He called himself a cod. What do you know of him? He was kin to me.
All I know is that never met him personally, but I do know that they are sort of a pet project for the Seventh Sister, as far as I've heard. Believe that she has a promise. They have some sort of bargain with or deal with one another.
He seems like he
No
was
idea.
doing the work for her. I don't think he's getting much out of it.
Sounds like the Seventh Sister.
Well, he let us go.
Seventh Sister doesn't have a lot of equals. And looks at you and both and kind of says, like, you probably know what happened to the 6 other sisters.
Well, now I do.
Well, I'd like to know.
And actually strikes. Oh, I was actually hoping you knew, because I don't.
I think he's implying that she killed all her sisters. That's not a good thing to do.
It would fit her. It would fit her style. But I actually don't know if they're around. I don't even know if there are 7 sisters.
But what does
I
that
don't know
have
if
to
there's
do
any
with the
brothers.
comment?
That's just
I
what they
think
call
it's
them.
just all a ruse. And she's really just a nice person that's looking
Look.
for friends.
Look, these are strange times we're living in, and I'm just glad the war hasn't reached these parts. Well, until you all showed up, and well,
Yeah, that's going to happen now. That's what they said. That they were bringing an army, I mean. So
Yeah.
maybe we should talk to the Lightforged and they can help fight them or prevent them from coming over here.
if you bring that up, I'm going to be very honest with you. I know what they're going to say because I deal with Lightforged way too often for any tree ever should. They're going to say, sorry, can't help you. Go back to their temple and their fortified fortresses and bunker down.
Well, then we'll follow where they go and bring the army with us.
They won't let you in.
Doesn't matter. I've still brought the army to their door. Or instead, we say that there's going to be a big feast in the end when they finish all their talking or whatever.
They stare at each like. I love it because that makes perfect sense, right? But he's just waiting for you to dawn that they don't eat.
Yes,
And
that's
so
what I
he's
was going to
just
say. We don't
staring
eat.
Yeah, so he's just
No,
like waiting.
she's
But like
yeah.
obviously it's perfect for you because that's what you do in
Yeah.
in,
You
in your
eat.
culture. And so
Yeah.
he's just waiting for you to like connect the dots there and being like,
Oh boy. Right. Okay. How about instead we have a festival with music and they can trade arm things. What are those things on their arms that they can trade
Pauldrons.
them? Yeah, the pauldrons. I don't have pauldrons, so I don't know what they are. So they can trade. So it'll be a mass trading festival.
I am
Can they-
afraid that if we,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
If we stay here long enough to throw a festival, the army will have arrived.
Well, they're going to come here anyway because that's what bad guys do.
But then why waste time with a festival?
Because we need to protect these people here.
It's like the Lightforged aren't fighters. They run and they hide and hold up in their walls. They don't have to eat or sleep. Make sieges a breeze.
Cinderberry, if the army comes here...
So they're cowards? Is that what you're telling me? I don't think so. Talk's not a coward.
I love that you scream that out, and then Talk, you probably hear that, right? As there's some mediating, right? So to bring you in, like you don't hear any of the context. Yeah, you don't hear any of the context until you just hear that note, right? That outburst, right?
Excuse me. So what I'm saying, you put another 4% into futures, and you put the other 4 into commodities.
And he looks so. Yeah, it's like fighting ain't their strong suit. They prefer their words.
There has to be something that they're good at. Talk's great at everything.
At that, Raijin kind of points over and he says, "Do you see the red sash and the blue sash?
Yeah.
And do you see how Talk has no coloration?
Yeah.
He's not like them.
No, that means he's all of the colors.
No, he despises all of the colors.
That inadvertently makes him all of the colors.
Yeah, so he's like the one of a kind.
Why can't they all be more accepting? They are all part of the same type of beings,
Because Talk was dead and then raised by Voidborn.
Okay, so what you're saying is we have to kill them all to make them better?
No,
but
just let them live in their hole.
Min, what you're saying is that you would rather them stay and fight for us and we don't even know them.
No, not fight for us. If the what's her face 7 sister nonsense and the mean sister, if she wants to come here, then what's to stop her from going everywhere else if we get away? So we just supposed to sacrifice ourselves?
She's coming because of us, though.
Well, I didn't get a letter saying that she needed to talk to us.
We gotta... What are they called when people come sing to you at your door?
Singing telegram?
Carolers?
Carolers?
We got a
It depends if they're ordered or not. One is carolers, the other one is
A
singing.
singing telegram via monsters and weapons.
We got a singing telegram delivered straight to our door to come get
I
us.
love how you're trying to keep a straight face through all of this, and I'm the worst at that.
You set me off every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah, I know. Like, also, this is the first session, so like, I know, like, I'm not going to say this all the time, but like, my style is I'm saying what they think. He could be wrong. You could convince them with a rousing speech.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like,
I know.
I'm talking some fucking like St. Crispin's Days level shit going down.
You think I'm
Like,
not
you wanted
putting
to.
into the contract that they have to defend this place? I knew we were getting attacked, and it's like,
All
no.
right.
It's like... All right, take up arms. Take up arms. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. We'll get some food and some rest, and then come back. Then talk about what the next plan is going to be.
Oh, we'll be here for at least 2 days.
So, question. What were we coming here for again? Just to talk to Cinderberry about the star?
Yeah, Cinderberry knows something about the star that you need.
And then we would be on our way.
But you literally haven't even gotten that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we
absolutely.
haven't actually asked him that, so maybe we should do that first.
And we got it's a little preoccupied.
Yeah, I think
the angry Lightforged.
I think Serena turns to Min and says, "We came here for a reason, and if we continue and move on, there's no reason the army would attack these people. They'll go on their way, and we'll go on our way, and maybe the Seventh Sister will continue to exist here, but she would have existed here regardless."
Except for that, I think she's going to come after them anyway for helping us.
Raijin, you would know that Akkad, after the honor duel, would be bound to find you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of said as much.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
That he would never stop coming for us. That's really what Raijin is most distracted about. The fact that he looks like he was at one point a Voidborn, and now looks like some kind of stony, gross monster. And that Cinderberry alluded to the fact that it was done by somebody. That's kind of why he hasn't broached the topic of the star at all. And he's kind of letting Min go through her motions of trying to save the whole world.
Now that you've mentioned that. Oh wait, no, sorry, Brother Talk. You're not part of that. You're not privy to this conversation. Never mind. But at some point, maybe during the deliberations, you realize that maybe Akkad was actually one of the reasons why he was willing to negotiate with you is because you are reborn. That's all.
Okay.
Listen, we do have a couple of days to figure this out, but I think we need to get the information why we came here in the first place. Otherwise, this trip was for nothing.
Okay, yeah, so tell us about the comet star thing.
Yeah. He says comet star. Vashnyara, he says.
Yeah, that. Pretty glowing thing in the sky.
She's the
I have
feisty
trouble
one.
with regular common words because I'm so often speaking through music, so it's she abbreviates as much as she can on things. Yeah.
I understand the consort. I've met a few of you before. Not enough, is what he says. Vashnyara is well, I mean, if you think the seventh sister is bad, well, Vashnyara is basically the devil.
Wait, what?
War, bloodshed, nothing but sadness coming from that thing.
Like it causes it, or it's like that because of the hands that it falls into? A prophecy.
Oh yeah, because of a prophecy. Yeah.
Well, prophecies are just stories.
Did I hear that?
I reckon the reason why you came here is because there ain't many kin who've been around when the last time there was a star like Vashnyara in the sky and what it did to the world.
What did it do?
It probably looks to you, Ragin, and says, some of the brightest minds, most ambitious of hearts, thought they could use it for good. They thought they could make the world stop turning, and, well, in a way, they sort of did that. Once again, cryptically, but like us as players know, right?
No, yeah. And Min is trying to put all the pieces together. So, Rajan, I think he means that you weren't like what you are from before.
No, he
He says,
I'm trying to get more information out of him by asking weird questions.
Yeah.
Right.
He says, I think what is happening now happened again. People that thought it was for good went out to find it wherever it would land, and it only brought ill tidings. Which is exactly what we're doing.
So it doesn't matter. It's going to fall, and then all the bad things are going to happen again?
Well, the way it sounds like is whoever finds it is what does the bad things.
So it's not the comet's fault?
In a way.
So we need to get to it first.
Yeah. If you want to protect the people you care about, find it and destroy it. That's what he says. I know you all want it because it can do all these other things, but that's what he says. But what do I know?
I'm just a weird tree.
Internal conflict in Zarina.
I'm a tree. Yeah, what do I know? I'm a tree mammoth with no herd. I have a couple of trees that fell. Yeah, maybe I'm cynical in my old years.
There's got to be other people who will be after it.
Can we tell where it's going to land?
Look, when you ask that question, it sighs and says, if you have pure intentions, I might have something that can help. And what do you say when it says that? Do you lie?
No.
Why are you seeking it? Right? Like maybe not. You have to explain that to me. But if you're seeking it for something that's actually altruistic, then you could say yes, and you won't like detect.
I don't
lying,
actually.
right?
I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to play a song.
Ooh, explaining it.
Yeah. So I'm here. So what happens?
Tell us, because the chat hasn't seen it and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So Minea kind of poses herself up, kind of straightens her back and gets ready like she's about to perform. And she takes her violin's bow out, and you see the formation of that violin again. And as she begins to play it, the colors that kind of start emitting in an aura around her, they are various hues of blue tones, very calming, but also it has a feeling of almost sadness. And as the color kind of penetrates throughout the area and the radius and hits Cinder as well, he physically sees in his mind, like he's there in front of the scenario that's taking place, is a woman that is kind of cloaked, and she comes to an area where Min is standing, and they kind of embrace, and there is a flash forward to a view of, it's not an actual view of a person or a thing, it's a view of a feeling like pain. And as the pain starts to slide away, what's left is this flat surface of water that's got no ripples on it at all. And in the water, as somebody leans forward, you see a woman that looks a lot like Zarina.
Aww. Aww. It nods and says, wow.
Those are my intentions.
Yeah, it's never in my life have I seen something like that. And that's saying something. And it closes its eyes. Its bright yellow eyes, and starts tilting its head. And one of those bright lit eyes rolls out down its trunk and rests and comes to rest at your feet and says, "Here."
She picks it up.
It's warm, and says, and he says, "This will help you find it."
Thank you.
So
I'll
you have
keep it safe.
This is one of my only seeds. It's special to me.
Well, then I will venture to bring it back to you when we're done.
He shakes his head and says, "You won't be bringing it back to me."
Well, then I'll bring you something else in return.
It smiles and says, "I'd like that a lot."
Aw, yay! All right.
Yeah. Cool.
So after this exchange,
It's
11. Oh shit, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably where we want to end for the night.
Yeah.
You got what you needed, and we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with the battle and everything like that next week, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hell yeah.
We played Dungeons and Dragons.
We did.
That 11 o'clock snuck up on me.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
Hot damn. So guys, that was the first episode, the first official episode of Myth Dawn, a game that we built live here on Twitch. and then subsequently played live on Twitch. We have homebrewed the Consort race. We've homebrewed the Grigori race. We've homebrewed the Voidborn. I think Grant did a little bit of homebrew with the Lightforged.
They're a unique culture.
Yeah. We're taking classes from Xanathar's Guide to Everything, the Lost Notes. We're taking it's an amalgam of all the popular D&D products that are currently out there right now, and smashing it into this. We're working on cultures and all kinds of other cool things, which we will put somewhere eventually. We'll put it in a Google Doc and post it for you guys to look at and add to your own enjoyment. But for now, let's do our introductions and see what everyone thought of this first wacky session of Myth Dawn. And we'll start with our wonderful DM, Eric. Who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of tonight's episode?
Yay.
Yo, this was super awesome. This was really interesting. I love it. I love how much we're invested in this. It all shows and cares. And I just hate that it's the first session of playing with each other, because I'm frustrated because I know that once we play like 3 or more sessions or whatever, we're just going to know all each other's like rhythms, and we're not going to ask those like awkward questions about like, you can make this roll. Like you know what kind of my style is and what your style is. So we have to interrupt each other. And like, once we get all that stuff out of the way, this is going to be some fucking premium quality gaming together. I'm really excited about it.
I'm pretty excited.
Thank you.
Everyone else was excited in chat. We nonstop talking in our private Discord chat about this game. I think none more so than Summer, who had to unfortunately miss last episode, but she caught up and bombarded us with messages and lore and all kinds of cool stuff. So Summer, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of your first time playing in Myth Dawn?
Yeah, this was very good. I'm loving the character dynamics that are like already coming out, and I can't wait to see those explored and just those relationships kind of develop. It's going to be really, really good. And the world is just so unique and so exciting. And I love that it's going to be like a continual world building process, like all the time, just the nature of the way we started. It's so good. But yeah, I'm Summer. You can find me here on Twitch at It's Just a Summer Job and off _the table. And yeah, anything that you need to know about me, you can find on my Twitter, which is at Just a Summer Job. And I talk there 24/7. But yeah, this was totally awesome. Good job to Eric. And thank you for having us on your channel. This is awesome. I'm so excited for the
I am having a blast.
coming weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good.
I think Meta, I think she put all of her work aside for the entire week and only drew Myth Dawn art, judging by her Instagram and Twitter, and 3 new pieces of art just for her character alone. So Meta, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of your first episode?
Get the boring stuff out of the way. I'm Metamancer. I do horror roleplay and horror art, and then obviously this awesome campaign. I absolutely love this style of D&D. I am not a D&D person generally. Like, I love roleplay, but D&D systems never really appealed to me due to a lot of the constraints, which kind of start to fall away when you're looking at homebrewed systems. And then on top of that, it was really easy to get invested in all of our characters because we pretty much just built the concepts together. And that's so much more exciting than just pulling from a book and being like, okay, that one sounds good. And the creative process that it took to get us just to this episode made it a huge difference, right? Because it was just this evolution of thought and creation. And, where we started last week at world building to where we are now it's a huge change, and it's only been a week. So I definitely think that this campaign will continue to evolve the world that we have created and make it even more epic and awesome. And we already had people on Twitter asking if the information was going to get released for people to use. And that's literally from one session. So that's an amazing tell. And I love making art. And the fact that I was physically inspired to just do something, that's really good as well. Because it's hard for me to sit down and make a creature because I'm really bad at drawing creatures normally.
We've never known.
So I'm really happy with everything, definitely.
That's awesome. And last but definitely not least, Grant, who I've seen craft all kinds of crazy, ridiculous worlds, from American fantasy history to outlandish elven courts. Grant, we built this world together last week. We're already, it's 100 years later. Who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of the first episode in Myth Dawn?
Well, my name is Grant Ellis. I'm an independent, I guess I'd call myself a content creator if I really wanted to say it, because I'm not really a designer. I'm not really an author. I design and publish campaign settings, and I'm currently participating on this show. I have a weekly show called The Story Forge, which is all about world building and setting design for the Encounter Roleplay YouTube channel. And I'll probably be having a show. We're actually going to pilot a show next week on Exploding Dice called Romance of the Winter Samurai, which is another homebrew setting. I absolutely love the session. It's one of those things similar to Eric. It's like, I wish we had more time to play with each other as a group, just so we could get with the rhythm. And of course, coming into the first session, I'm always high anxiety and talk a lot, so apologize for talking over anyone, stopping like the Lightforged. I literally, that's why I think someone in chat last week was like, oh, Grant has to play a Lightforged, like that's him. And when they were describing the Assailants of the Sand, I was like, oh wow, Eric just described like the Ellis brothers, these out of shape, lumpy stomached, skinny legged, fat headed painted guys. I was like, wow, he just described me and all my brothers. Where he saw
Damn.
Yeah, but Eric actually embodies a lot of what I strive for in a dungeon master, and I run lots of Dungeons and Dragons, and really appreciate you, Mike, for building a strong community. Chat was awesome tonight. They were very involved, and I'm glad that we have an opportunity to play together on our channel. I'm really excited to see, because while I'm not a designer, I do know some design concepts. So when Eric says something like, oh, don't worry, there's 6 fronts in this world, I'm like, and in fact, he might have said 8. I've lost count. And so as he's saying things, like I'm taking notes over here, and it's like, all right, I've written 3 journals worth. What's a front? What's fluff? And yeah, I'm just really excited. And the thing is, it probably all could be.
Yeah. I am pretty stoked about this. I think this is the first time all of us collectively have ever played together, which is pretty rad. Like I said, you get those first game session jitters where everyone's kind of learning how everyone flows. Chat, you guys were outstanding today, as Grant said. This game is awesome. I like a lot of fantasy trope world building, and this took every fantasy trope and sort of spun it on its head, and it's this weird, unique world that, like, we're literally behind the scenes from this week to next week. I promise you, we're going to be making all kinds of new world building things behind the scenes and then implementing it into the game, because that's what we did from last week to this week. So it's only going to happen more and more behind the scenes, and I can't wait for it. I also like the fact that Rajin hates talk, which we kind of expected, and that he doesn't know how to deal with Min at all, because they're polar opposites in life. I think so far the only person that he's like, all right, this person's fine, is Z, because she's quiet and just keeps to herself, and he's like, I can respect that. You don't talk a lot. Let's keep that going. So it's very interesting, both character dynamic and player dynamic, and I am all for it. Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, chat. Before we get the hell out of here, I'm going to remind you guys that we have a community night coming up this Saturday. We have more Blades in the Dark coming tomorrow, and we have my homebrew campaign for D&D, 2 Million Tales, on Thursday. And let's go raid our friends Dungeons and Distractions. They are currently playing some D&D over there. And if you guys aren't following us on social media, fucking do that. I guess, whatever. And that's it from all of us to you guys. Bye-bye.